Black history. Black history. What do they say? We're just hating on the UK, man. They hating on people speaking on America. Big old haters.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, Zcash? You've been up
Hey,
here
hey,
before. You've been up
yeah, I've
here
been up here
before.
before, man. I've been up here before.
What's up? What's up, bro? What's on your mind?
Yes, I'm gonna. So like Africans built America, but FBS are trying to erase that history. Um, I don't think Africans built America. I'll be honest with you. You know, I feel like America was created by white Europeans, and they basically created America. You know, America is named after Americo, the man called Americo who discovered America, right? And white Europeans drafted the Constitution of America. They founded the United States government. They founded. They built all of the infrastructure over there. You know, Africans didn't contribute much to chattel slavery. I mean, they only contributed to chattel slavery if we're being honest. You know, So like picking cotton and stuff like that, that's really all they accomplished in America, the FBAs. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
I would just push back and say that, well, these Europeans, forced human labor, right? What they call sweat equity now, and made people build America for them, So we have to
Well,
acknowledge that the Africans that were off the boat and were
but the
made
thing
to
is,
work,
but the
right?
thing is, right, yeah.
Or all the different demographics that are in America that
But
are
but
put to work.
they only worked in the plantations though. They only worked for farm in agriculture.
No, they worked in the big house. They worked on the field. They worked.
Yeah, that's agriculture, bro. They only worked in agriculture.
No. They
Did they
the
work in
Constitution.
industry?
The Constitution, I think, was written by Native Americans. You got to go look that up.
What?
And yeah, go look it up. And then they
Bro,
copied
you're not
it,
serious.
and then they added to it. You remember all the treaties that they wrote? They were doing the treaties, and they wrote it in English, and kind of like, how English is the forked tongue.
Yeah, but
They do their-
what are you though? Are you African?
No, but yeah, African. But do you know, that's what I mean about Africans building America. If FBAs want to say they built America, FBAs just existed prior to 2020. You know what I mean? So this is the argument.
But I disagree, man, because the thing is, right.
Again,
When we talk about like industrial, like engineering, like
we can't give Europeans all the credit.
I understand that, but like I did give them credit for the agriculture. But like when it comes to industry, when it comes to building things, when it comes to development, like building bridges, building buildings, you know what I'm saying? All that shit was done by the white tees, bro.
Engineers.
Yeah, bro. The blacks just picked, they just picked the cotton, bro.
The blueprint.
They just picked the cotton on the ground, man.
They might have built Rome. They might have built Rome,
They just
all
cotton
the infrastructure. But again, they had other people. I don't know what happened to you, but you can come back up if you want. Black History, what's up, brother?
What?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. You can come
Yeah, what
back
happened
if
just
you
now?
want.
For real?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I didn't drop him.
I don't know what happened. He just literally just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he didn't like what you were saying.
What was I saying?
The facts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
not even joking. I swear, bare people got this point from me. You know about this whole about the Africans building up America.
Yeah, I remember this conversation. Yes, definitely.
Isn't it? Because I hear this now. I hear this, but this was one of my points. You must remember, Vibes. I started this whole shit.
This is Trip's prompt.
I already have that prompt anyway.
I took it from him.
It's not really his because I already have this.
I know. The concept is, obviously we all share. Yeah, but like, okay. What were they? Yeah, what were they when they came off the boats? They weren't FBAs.
Yeah, remember that's part of my talking point, right? My talking point, as it goes, it says when the Africans got to when the YTs got to Africa, right? They picked up Africans. They rounded up Africans on those ships, and they walked. They didn't walk on those ships as FBAs,
right?
Because it's true, isn't it? They didn't walk on as FBAs.
We're Black Americans.
Right, exactly. And then when they stepped off those ships, they still walked off those ships as Africans. You know what I'm saying? They walked off those ships exactly what they was picked up as. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And they still had that fighting spirit too, I'm sure.
Right.
They still held on to their languages, their practices, and it was forced out of them. And then not until the 1600s is when the chattel slavery, that timeline is when they say that's their inception. So it's
you joke out in the comment. Why can't you delineate from your whitey lineage?
Yeah, exactly. That's the one they want. But no, Black. Yeah. I wanted to tell you about. I saw your part 2, and it's good. Yeah. I like how you cut it up, and I feel like I got to do that because I got a lot of footage from like certain individuals too that have said some stuff about me, and I can go back. And, and I can go back and like get what they actually said, because they just come on and just lie.
You just gotta let me know, bro. You just gotta let me know.
Yeah, no. I got it. I just don't do it because I don't know. I'm just not worth my time. But if anything happens,
I could tell you that trick now to do the thing. You know how I set up my lives, my lives.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how I saw my lives and you was like, oh, how do you do this? And how do you put that thing on?
Oh yeah. Well, how did you the background?
Yeah,
The
but
background. That was
I'll
all.
tell you off the live. I'll tell
You
you off
get
the
you didn't promise me this for months.
For
I
years.
already figured it out.
I mean, okay.
No need to gatekeep. No need to gatekeep. The general knowledge.
In general,
You're like, I'm,
it
you're
actually
like,
is, but it's just not a lot of people really know how to. But
you're
I'm
I'm
not
first to do it. It ain't nobody extension.
Yeah, man. Jeez. So no, but do you know
It
what?
has,
Do you
like,
know
it
what's so
covers
funny
up a
though?
lot of the background.
Yeah, it does, isn't it? But do you know what, Vibes?
Yeah. I'm sure
you
you
know
could
what
do
I
something
find
where
so
it only
funny?
covers like the bottom half or the top half. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Now look, when we
I'm hearing
learned
you.
about this, when we learned about the FBA thing, yeah. Oh, let's just check the guy that come up. Hello, One Tesla.
How are you?
We're very good, thank you. And you?
I'm doing good.
Are you BLK American or something else?
I'm not a BLK individual, no.
YT?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Did you want to speak about the prompt?
Yeah, I had a question. What is an FBA?
Okay, we can get right into that. I'm just gonna check. 1 second, Carlos.
Say again.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Are you FBA?
Yeah.
Why don't you explain what FBA is? Because one Tesla would like to find out what is an FBA. I already know, but since you're FBA, you might as well say. And then we'll explain it to him what we think FBA is, and let's see if it matches up. Let's see if it lines up what you have to say and what we have to say. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm not going to be subjective right now. I'm just going to tell you exactly what it is. FBA, Foundation of Black American, is a lineage. It's not a group. It's not an organization. It's a lineage. It's a bloodline of the people who descend directly from American chattel slavery, and their family have been in the country since the beginning of the country. It's not a group. It's not any of that other stuff. It's strictly a lineage. You have to be born in America, and you have to be of the blood of the people in order to be a foundation of Black American. And it's not something that you can choose to be or not to be, because your lineage is your lineage. It's something you're born into. You can't just choose not to be your lineage if you feel like it. And I'll land my plane right there.
So did you get that, Tesla?
Yeah, essentially people who are descendants of chattel slavery.
Yeah.
In America.
Well, yeah, that's.
And how did you honestly think and feel when that was explained to you? What was your thoughts that came to mind?
I mean, I'm sure there's a term for everything. I think that it's appropriate to have a term for people who are descendants, like, directly of chattel slavery. And I think it's important because I think there's people of color who get so personally tied into this chattel slavery argument that are not FBA. And I think when you guys talk about reparations and all these other things, identifying what an FBA is probably important in that, rather than just blanket like anyone who has a bit of melanin in their skin being like a victim of like chattel slavery.
Right. Okay. We got Jay on the panel as well. Jay.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right, 331 conducted. 331.
What's going on? Okay, you sound like he's pretty busy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. What about you? Are you BOK American or?
Yeah, I was gonna say that my question to the people who want to base the term FBA on chattel slavery, going to the reparations argument, how would you demonstrate that one of your ancestors was an enslaved person in the United States of America?
All you got to do is if you have a family member that's classified as Black on the 1870 census, that automatically means you're an FBA because you descend from somebody who was enslaved during chattel slavery.
So you're saying that anybody who was classified as Black on the 1870 census was an enslaved person? Or a descendant of an enslaved person?
Yes.
And where do you get that information from?
If you look at the 1870 census, The 1870 census is the very first U.S. census roll where Black Americans are listed by first and last name. Before the 1870 census, Black people were enslaved. We were property, hence chattel slavery.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I've looked at previous censuses, like, for example, the 1850 census, where it lists colored persons and then asks, are the persons free or enslaved, and are they black or mulatto? So that's why I'm trying to ascertain where you're getting your information, because I've never seen what you're talking about.
The
year 1870 is the year that Black people got the full right to. That was the year that we had the right to vote was ratified. Even though we got the right to vote in 1865, it wasn't ratified in the United States Congress until the year 1870, which is the reason why we show up on the census then.
Is it 1870 or 1868? Because Black people in America Black people in America officially became citizens in 1868.
No, 1865, they ratified the U.S. Constitution with the 13th and 14th Amendment. They voted it in, but it wasn't fully ratified, put into law until the year 1870.
Okay, the ratification of the 14th Amendment is what allowed Black people in America to become citizens.
No, it allowed us to vote.
So what is your thoughts about, well, anybody who's FBA anyway, it says Africans built America, but FBA are trying to erase that history.
Who says that?
Huh?
Why would somebody say that?
Because it's, why do you think it would say that? Because it's the truth, no?
Nah, not really, because it's like when we came over here to America, we had what's called an ethnogenesis, because we created an entirely new ethnic group. So therefore, we weren't Africans because we weren't born on the soil of Africa. Yes, and that's not denying the African DNA. But at that point, with us being becoming a whole new group of people born on a whole nother land, that creates a whole nother ethnic group.
So just to let you know, it wasn't like, Africans got to America and a whole new race was just created. Like, wow.
No, I didn't say race.
What are these? What are these folks? Like,
it's not. I didn't say race. I said ethnic group. I said
that wasn't really the case, but
I said ethnic group. We're an ethnic group.
Well, even an ethnic group, because what were you? You're still BLK. What did you have? You had admixture. Admixture didn't make you an entirely new ethnic group. I mean, the average African American has 0.8% Native American blood. They have 24% European DNA. And then they have a whopping anywhere from 75% African DNA up to 91% African DNA. So yeah, we still know that these are African Americans that have some a minute amount of Native American ancestry.
That still doesn't change the fact that we created
more European
entire new ethnic group.
May I intercede at this point?
So the thing is, right? You see the host prompt. It would actually factually be correct because it says Africans built America, but FBAs are trying to erase that. And we've already discussed this with you lot's leader with Tariq Nasheed, because what we explained to him as well, right? Because he didn't really seem to understand neither. You understand, and he was quite shocked. Is that you have to remember, right? You know, when those slave ships got to Africa, they didn't round up any foundational Black Americans from Africa. They were rounding up Africans onto those ships. And when those ships eventually landed in the Americas, they didn't walk off those ships. What does FBA stand for? Internet nigger? Hold on, let's remove this guy. All right, probably some YT, Charlie Kirk fanboy. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So when they walked off those ships, when the ships got to the Americas, they never walked off those ships as any foundational BLK Americans. Now, here's the thing. That's in 1501, right? It was all the way until 367 years later.
Okay,
when the ratification of the 14th Amendment happened.
Why isn't it?
The ratification of the 14th Amendment happened in the United States of America. The ratification of the 14th Amendment is what now allowed BLK people in America to be deemed as citizens. Now, it doesn't matter whether you was voting. One of you just mentioned, yeah, but we was voting. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because that was 1868 I just spoke about, right? The 14th Amendment.
Yeah, but we never
But in
was African.
1857, which was the Dred Scott ruling, the Supreme Court, the highest court of the United States of America,
You are skipping
made
to
it
this
very
thing.
clear. Made it very clear. They said, we don't care whether you're free. We don't care whether you're enslaved in the United States of America. You are not no citizen of the United States of America.
Okay,
But
that's
all
cool,
that
right?
changed for you. All of that changed for you.
Can I
at
just
the
ask, how is
ratification of
this
the
affecting
14th
you
up.
now,
Amendment.
though? Like, what is the significance in 2026 of this? I'm just
I
trying to
just,
track.
I
Like, what do you
believe,
care?
Well, we talk about history. You'd have to ask the host, why does he have this prompt? You'd have to ask the host, why is he holding any discussion to do with black people? You have to ask the host,
I
why
got a
does he want to
question
talk
for
about
you.
Africans? You'd have to ask the host all of these things. But then
I got a
it's like
question for you.
telling the
'Cause
host
this is
that
just like arguing semantics about who's African and who's
no,
not. I
we're
mean,
actually arguing black identity.
yeah, but
Now,
you're
you said
you're
you're
not
I'm
any
glad
of
you brought
those
up
but
things.
one
You
identity,
never
Tesla,
were
one
on a
Tesla,
ship.
you said you was YT. So if you're not happy with the host hosting his live
No, I'm
about
not happy.
black
It's not that I'm not happy. I
identity,
asked a question.
you might have to go to a YT live. Maybe
This
they're
has nothing
talking
to
about
do with
they might have a
race.
live
It
right
was a
now, one
simple
Tesla. They might be
question.
talking about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk and that. That might be a more preferential
But
live.
see,
I don't
this is
know.
where you're being disingenuous. I came on here with a mind to educate myself. I didn't know what an FBA. I asked you politely what that is, and now
So
I'm
then why
asking
would you
you,
ask
what
why
is
is the
the
host
significant?
hosting this? Why would you ask
The
why the
major
host is doing the
significance is
conversation
that
No,
like
I'm
this?
just simply saying, what is the significant? Like, how?
if you don't
What
The
does
cut me
this
host would
off,
mean?
like to
What
talk
is an
about
he's
black
FBA?
identity.
he's basically saying that there's a lot of black Americans who don't like to recognize themselves as African Americans. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. So a lot of African Americans in America do not like that we just call ourselves black. We would rather be known and recognized as black instead of being called African. Is that what you're talking about, guy? My guy, Black History?
Well, yeah, I mean, where's the host? 1 minute. Vibes, are you done?
He
Just
said
if you, I
he
don't
had to do
mind.
something for a minute.
I'm in the
I can continue, no
library.
problem.
Well, here, I will
Yeah.
give the context. Give me a chance.
Okay, no
Let me
worries.
walk.
Do
Let me walk.
you want me to
what's the
continue,
difference
Vibes?
between
Do you want me to
Elon
continue?
Musk
So,
and me?
so
I
what
would,
is the what
I
is
would,
the who
Somebody
wants to
was
know
asking
what?
why the prompt and all this sort of stuff. Why we having this discussion
Man,
and
Okay.
why
stuff.
is you the only
Yeah,
black
yeah, yeah.
talking?
right.
All right, all right, all
What I
right.
was gonna
So
say,
again, the
but
prompt for the one just to show you how we think about how this FBA movement that has recently
You're breaking up. You're breaking
America
up.
as foundational Black American. Sorry, it's them trying to delineate from the term African American and even Black American at this point because you had to add
Right.
foundational to it, right? And so this stuff comes with a bunch of, it comes with a package of anti-immigrant, we are America first kind of rhetoric, a lot of white heritage Americans, the same vocabulary, the same rhetoric. So our position here is we're splitting amongst our own, you know, as Black people as a whole. White people don't do this. White people do fight amongst themselves with their ethnicities, but then they all converge onto just, you know, being on code to be white. Black people are at a point right now where they're pushing back in America and saying we don't like these other ethnicities. We want to make our own ethnicity. So they want to make Black American a ethnicity that's not recognized by the federal or the state. We know Black American is
recognized as
black
African
is a race, American is a nationality, and you could have plenty of ethnicities and be born here or naturalized here and be considered a Black American. You haven't reinvented the wheel.
Can I interject?
Oh no!
real quick?
Let me just land this point so I can go back in the library and finish what I was doing. And then so this picture right here testifies to what I'm saying. Just an analogy, right? How the Black American is watching the FBA attack brothers that still consider themselves identify as African American. You can't take that away from them.
That's not your people
You
being
can't
attacked.
FBA wash all of African American achievements and call it 50 million
That picture is
FBAs.
an FBA being attacked by a dog.
No, that guy never was classified as an FBA. Again,
He
this is a new
never
concept.
was classified
This is a
as
new
African
concept that
on
you're
the
trying to
census.
make normalize.
Right.
That you're trying to normalize.
Hey,
When you
Vibes,
look at every census, we never was African.
Vibes, do you want me to take over?
Okay,
Got it. Well, thank you for
Black
explaining
History. I
that
wanted to let
because
you know,
now I
Jay.
understand.
Jay's my Jay's my moderator too, and Black
Okay,
and
no
Jay, you
problem.
guys both got this. Okay. All right.
Thanks for
I'm
letting
gonna
me
go
know.
back in the library. Thank you.
Can I interject real quick?
So look, let me say this to you real quick, yeah, on behalf of the host, because the host
Bro,
stands
man,
by.
hey, listen, bro, you
He
just been
stands
talking,
behind what
bro.
I'm saying, right? Because
I understand you're a moderator. You
we're
not
both
letting
on the same
nobody
side
speak.
here.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
just
Like,
a quick
you're
one,
not
just a quick
even.
one. One sec,
Be
LV. One
quiet,
sec.
my
One
God.
sec.
Be
One
quiet,
sec.
You're
Black
not
History.
listening to nothing nobody's saying,
Come on,
bro.
man.
Right.
We heard. We get your point.
Listen. All right.
Yeah,
So
we
listen.
get you, Black
We
History. I
get
think
you.
we can
Understand. We
tell the
understand
Yeah,
you,
bill.
we
Black
already
History.
heard what you got to
Listen.
say.
Chill. Okay,
You
calm
keep
down a
talking for
second.
what?
Bro,
Right.
is so obnoxious to just
If
let
you're
other
in
people
your
speak.
feelings, LV, you can step down,
Bro, let
get a
somebody
fresh
else
air,
talk.
Let
and
somebody
come
else
back up.
talk, my guy.
Okay. What do you disagree with? Let's hear what you disagree with.
I disagree with you because for whatever reason you believe that black people in this country don't like being called African, or we sometimes hide from our African identity.
Not all black people. No, that's not true. That doesn't apply to all
Right.
blacks. It's mostly FBA.
Right, but I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're trying to put down, and I'm telling you, it sounds just like we have most of our Africans that come to this country, the United States of America. They come over here legally, and if they come over here legally, 9 times out of 10, they're highly educated, and because of their education, they constantly look condescending down on Black Americans, and they get this preconceived notion that we feel some type of way because we don't get along with you. We have no congruency with you because when you come over here, again, you have this condescending thing because most of you are educated, and therefore you've been educated, and you have the white man's mindset about how black people are. You don't really know black people and black people's history as far as our history in America is concerned and what we had to do. And again, I've done black history all my life, and I've never seen any black nation take accountability for what they did, for their participation on helping the white man enslave us. Y'all talk like y'all have a moral compass, like y'all have something to stand on, and you don't. You helped the white man put us over here. Your people allowed this to happen. You weren't, y'all didn't have a problem with us being enslaved. No African nation, I'm not talking about the continent. No African nation has put out any type of disagreement saying, oh, we're mad, we declare war, when we hate what y'all did, or we apologize for what we did. And what we did is for us selling our people to European people to be sent over here. Again, American, if you're calling yourself a black American, again, this is something that white people call. The word white and black, as far as a race is concerned, is something that white people have made up. There is no such thing as a white man. That word wasn't made up until 1681. If you go to South African, it says non-European and European. That's how they classified white people. They don't call them white people in Africa or in South America or in South Africa. But in America, we call white people white people. That's
Hey,
made up.
Mayhem, I got a question for you, bro.
All right.
If,
So
if
I am actually
Africans,
I do want to respond to what you're saying though. A lot has been said.
Right. Let them talk. Let LB say something.
hey, Mayhem, so if Africans sold Africans, why would America need to talk to Africans when they was under the British control? Wouldn't America need to talk to the British to exchange to get the slaves? Because British already had control of the slaves.
During this time, the British was not in control. Spain is the people who created the trade slave. Britain had not came into power at this time, and we got to realize that Spain had been in captivity of the Moors. Black people enslaved Spain and Portugal for 781 years during this time. They enslaved Spain and Portugal. And the Roman Catholic Church is the one who freed these white people, but they were called Spaniards at this time. They freed these Spaniards and got rid of the Moors. That's where you get the running of the bulls in Spain. That's the white European people chasing the black Moors out of Spain in 1492. Now, this happens to be the same year that good old Christopher Columbus happened to set sail and come over here and discover South America and North America. And those two people, the Spaniards and the Portuguese, the Dutch ships are the first people to go over there and be in cahoots with these slaves. These slave people, these Africans brought their slaves over here and they sold them to the European people who then brought them
back. What I'm saying. So around this time.
All right, cool. We're going to respond to this now.
You made a good point. That's a fact.
Going to respond
around
to this.
that time,
definitely.
You saying that
Brody, definitely going to respond to this. Yeah, first of all, because a lot has been said, right? You talk about in your initial statement, you talked about how basically Africans come over and they come over illegally, they're educated, and they got all this disrespect for African Americans. In
2026, that's happening.
That's fine. Right now, they got all this disrespect for African Americans once they get off that plane.
They're condescending, not disrespect, bro.
But here's the thing. That's fine. Don't worry. You laid down your segment, yeah? Here's the thing. Like the population of America today is approximately sits around 342 million people. Those that are either whitey or even have any whitey ancestry, those numbers sit at a whopping 212 million whiteys. There are more whiteys in the United States of America than there is in any individual European nation in the world. There's more whiteys in America than there are whiteys in Russia. There's about 143, approximate a million in Russia, and there's 212 YT in the United States of America. So BLK people are obviously a minority in the United States. In terms of BLK people in America, there is approximately around, 48 million BLK people. Around 4.5 million up to 5 million, just a handful, 4.5 million to 5 million of those.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
BLK immigrants. BLK
You just been
immigrants.
talking,
So
bro.
that
I
means
ain't
that
gonna
there's
lie.
approximately about 44 million African Americans. Okay, so if you got 44 million African Americans that are
Vibes, let me
amongst
address the panel, bro.
5 million, just a handful of 5
Vibes, where
million
you at,
BLK
bro?
immigrants, what do you think it means now when the same data says that 91% of the total immigrant population in the United States of America is non-black, is not even BLK, they're Hispanics and whiteys and whatnot. But the FBA, right, these African Americans that call themselves FBA, they want to target the 5 million BLK immigrants. And they turn a blind eye. They have no problem with the 91% of the immigrants that aren't even BLK. So that's 43 million people in America that are immigrants that are non-BLK. And FBA has no problem with the 43 million. They just want to exclusively and specifically target the 5 million BLK ones. But you say, oh, you know, these Africans, they jump off the plane and whatnot, and then they start getting rude to the FBA. That's not true. They have to face this radical group called the FBA. They have to face the people who's, this movement that they're part of these people that proudly support Trump, loudly support him, and they loudly support ICE and all these people. You understand? So I think it's very disingenuous to make out that they just jump off the plane and for no good reason they just want to start targeting Americans. And very lastly, in addition to that as well, the fact that when we're talking about BLK people, because they they get sugar. Do you know what? I've got some family coming over at the moment, but do you know what? Respond to that. Respond to the immigrant thing that I just made just so far. 1 second.
What state are you in, bro?
Jamaica, bro. He not even from America. Just talking.
Andy, where your family
to the
from?
prompt real quick, please. If it, I've been waiting patiently, literally.
I'm UK Jamaican, bro. UK Jamaican.
Anyway, Jamaica trying to tell us about our history. Come on.
So wowie. So what?
Well, I have a question for
debunk it. Anyway, go ahead, Dust.
All right, yeah. So I have a question for everybody. Well, first of all, let me just start by saying, just response to the prompt, I agree. But secondly, I want to ask, does everyone want to forget that wasn't Africans, like, initially when they first arrived over there, weren't they coerced into that slavery of the African slave? Because initially there's a difference between the initial slavery that was used for, prisoners of war or any like committing a crime, crimes versus something like, say, chattel slavery. Chattel slavery, stuff that happened in South Africa and in other places.
I can answer that question for you.
In the U.S. Okay.
All right. In slavery, have you ever heard of the guy Mansa Musa?
I don't want to. What Mansa Musa?
Have you ever heard of Mansa Musa?
What's that got to do with anything?
I'm talking. Have you ever heard of Mansa Musa?
Yeah, so I know you're talking. We're listening. We're answering.
Yes.
Yes. Right. So in Africa, right, and in Islamic customs, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a slave. Mansa Musa was one of the richest people on the planet, right? He had thousands of slaves. It was an honor and a privilege to be a slave of him, right? Or some people, right, who are moral and respectable, right? So slavery in Africa, in certain countries in Africa, is not demonized and bad like we look at it, or as we do in America, where in America it's been taken out of context and they took full advantage of slavery in America, right? Whereas in Europe or in Africa, it wasn't necessarily looked at like that, right? But my thing is, we have people in Africa or from African nations that when they speak to us, for whatever reason, when they talk about history, they fail to talk about their participation in the slave trade. They talk about it like we chose to come over here, or they had nothing to do with it, or they know nothing about it. We just happened to come over here. We just over here. And that's how we got over here now. Or white people went into the continent or into the countries of Africa and took us. That's not what happened. White people did not go into Africa and grab us from the trees. That's not what happened, bro.
Did you know? Okay, cool. Let me end this point for once and for all and forever and ever until the end of days.
No.
I'm talking. 1 second, please. Right. As I was saying, to respond to your point, right, about the African and the participation of the slavery and whatnot. First of all, the primary beneficiaries of the transatlantic slave trade are the whiteys.
We're not asking. We're talking about the participation that the Africans
did. No, that's fine. I can respond to your point. I need no help. I'm going to respond to it, okay? So, again, the primary beneficiaries of the transatlantic slave trade were the whiteys, not the Africans. In fact, the primary architects of the transatlantic slave trade... It wouldn't have been nobody to benefit if it wasn't for that. The primary architects of the transatlantic slave trade are also the whiteys, right? The slave ships that got to Africa,
I just want to know one thing.
Are the whitey slave ships as well. Okay? So when you're talking about, these Africans, they sold their own people. Well, guess what? The same whiteys that approached Africa and did all of these things, they got to the Americas, which is a whole different continent. They came across a whole different race of people.
You're preaching to the choir.
They came across a whole different race of people who were the Native Americans themselves. And the Native Americans
came
to the same conclusions as those Africans in Africa. They too sold African people because of what the whiteys had pressured them to do. They too came to the same conclusion of even selling their own people in in America. Again, but this is only happening as the whiteys come and they introduce their system of chattel slavery in America. You don't see Native Americans arguing with Native Americans saying, yeah, you guys owe us and you owe us reparations to their own people. Because at the end of the day, the primary beneficiaries were the whitey people. The primary architects were the whitey people. They were not.
Shut the fuck
they
up.
were not slave ships from the Native Americans. They were not slave ships from the African people. And if you want to start talking about the Africans are going to start owing you this, that, and the third because of the transatlantic slave trade, guess what? African Americans will also have to owe African Americans. You'll have to seek reparations from other African Americans too. Do you know why? Because according to the history of the United States of America, there were around approximately a whopping 3,500 BLK slave owners. Yes, we can say it's because some of them, had a good heart and they wanted to get some of these BLK people out of slavery because they'd be better in their care rather than being in the YT person's care. So they did it because of that. But not all 3,500 BLK slave owners did it for those reasons. Some of them did it because they wanted to appease the YT man. And then many of these slaves went under brutal conditions and brutal punishments under some of these BLK slave owners. So these 3,500 approximate African-American slave owners, guess what? They owned around a whopping 12,500 slaves. So if you want to seek reparations from Africa, make sure you seek it from your own people too. And again, you can't even do that.
Nobody said nothing about that.
Do you know why? Because here's the other thing. Here's the thing that seals the entire deal. Here's the
you have no room to stand on.
Sorry, here's the entire thing to seal the entire deal. The time that you're speaking of, the African American in America did not officially and nationally and federally become a citizen in the United States of America all the way until 1868, when the ratification of the 14th Amendment happened in the United States of America. Prior to 1868, they were just deemed as Africans in America. They were not legally, they were not nationally, and they were not federally recognized as being citizens in America. So what you're complaining about, these are Africans in Africa. And these Africans held slaves because they weren't even citizens yet.
They took
So
the
if you want to
slaves to
seek
Jamaica.
reparations, seek it from your own people first, sir. How about that? Seek it from your own people first, then go after the
I'm a
Africans.
historian. I write history books. What
Then
are
you should
talking
know
about?
this.
I
Good,
know
then
this.
you should know this.
So
So, and
you
if you
would
do
know
know
this,
this,
then
this should
why
have
are
been
you?
this should have been in your segment, but it wasn't in your segment since you know this.
I don't agree with nothing you said, brother. I didn't say nothing about that. I
And
said
then we resort to insults. Yeah, guys, we can't have a civil conversation. And Black Historian, as much as I respect your point, you may have to wrap it up for this man because they can't handle more than like 3 to 5 points. They can't. It'd be.
bro, I listened to him respectfully. I heard his points.
Do you understand?
He's just over talking. He's not saying nothing. Nobody's listening.
No,
to
he
him.
actually saying a lot of factual
Oh,
information.
boo-hoo. Cry me a river because it's so hard to debunk. Everybody say, "Oh, you ain't saying nothing," but nobody can debunk it. But nobody can debunk it. Though, how about that? How about that
first?
Right.
Well,
exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Okay, can I just answer? Also, my point is
still waiting for you to debunk.
Shut up, then.
I was about to say there's no really response to really debunk the idea, but I think what y'all missing to the point is I think y'all are mistaking education, and I don't know what y'all not giving most of the things that Wells of what we're saying are backed by sources and stuff and researchers from like HBCUs and everything of that nature. And this a divide of y'all looking at your own history and y'all going by he say she say. People may not historically know or be accurate at what they know. No, because a lot of the information again was like decentralized and changed.
All right. Well, my point is this again: in order for us to fix our problem or move forward or get better, we got to acknowledge the truth, right? We got to acknowledge the truth on all aspects. We can't act like this didn't happen or that didn't happen, right? Because we're all over here now. And like I'll tell anybody, man, I love all black people, whether you're an African American, a black person, or a free black American, or a black American, or if you're an African immigrant, if you're a Jamaican, if you're a black person, I love you, not because you're a Jamaican, not because you're an African, not just because you're a black person. That's it. If you're a black person that's a good person, that's trying to have principles and morals, I love you and I'm going to rock with you, regardless on where you're from. Because no matter what, we're going to be identified together. We're all in the same bus. So if one of us look crazy, we all look crazy. You know, and that's why I always try to listen so I can learn. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I do know that if it wasn't for a stranger telling me some news I can use, I would still be in last place. I look forward to learning from people, especially my black people. But we got to talk about the truth. We got to talk about the truth. And I don't mind listening to the truth.
And what is that truth so that we can all hear?
The truth is we all need guidance and we all fall short. That's the truth. We all need guidance. We all need guidance.
What kind of guidance?
Real guidance, principle-driven guidance.
And how are you going to do that? Give it to us then.
By learning the real truth. How did black Americans get to this country? Well, we had a lot of things took place. Right, the way white people have tried to, or Whitey tried to explain to us, they came over here on the slave trade. That we all pretty much know that, right? And then when we come over here, black people in this country have took tremendous stances at evolving. They go from Frederick Douglass to Booker T. Washington to W.E.B. Du Bois to Malcolm X to Martin Luther King to Dr. Umar Johnson and Dr. Claude Anderson. We got plenty of black Americans who have participated and tried to make way for us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps because there was nobody else helping us to evolve, right? But that doesn't mean that we go around demonizing other people. We got to realize who we are and how we got here. And we didn't get here by accident, right?
Who's being demonized?
Well, you trying to demonize, you want to demonize the black people over here for not being so willing to listen to Africans that when they come over here and they're going to try to tell us our shortcomings, and they come over here with the mindset of a white person or somebody who's went through a white educated system. Because most Africans, most African immigrants do not know about black historians. They only listen to the history. They have been, listen to me, they have been educated by white universities. So they come over here with a white people's mindset about black people.
Can I chime in?
Wait, hold on. You think HBCUs are white universities then?
No, most universities teach what they teach. I went to Baylor University. I was a special ed student too.
So you went to Baker University.
I went
Okay,
to
so
Baylor University.
that's a predominantly white institution.
Absolute, a racist.
So then why do you don't realize how this correlates to anything? That's the most anti-blackness thing you could actually do.
No, I'm just telling you, I know what white institutes teach. That's why I'm telling you, I know
real quick
what the white schools teach. Go ahead.
But do you actually believe it?
No, hell no. That's why I write my own books. I write my own books about black
people. What are you running your information based on?
1 second, hold on. Who hasn't spoken that's trying to jump in?
Yeah, I was gonna not to cut your wisdom, brother Mayhem, but just acknowledging what you were saying. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard to kind of get your point across to people who fled from their homelands, and then they're trying to tell us what we need to
People didn't
do.
flee. They got invited. You got to learn the history as well. Thank you very much.
It's not. Why does it matter? Is my question.
It's going to be hard to try to understand.
Why does it matter? And why do you want to go? How we're gonna
get them to understand where we're from?
I have the biggest question.
Not at all, because at the end of the day, you guys are talking about all this foundational stuff, this weak ass foundational argument that we've been hearing for the longest time. You say, oh, what makes you foundational? We'll ask you guys, what makes you foundational? They say, we're foundational because we was here prior to 1776. Guess what? Other black people in the Americas were there before their country's independence too. Right? I ain't finished. Other black people was there before their independence too. So according to your own logic, shouldn't they be foundational as well then? We'll ask you, what else makes you foundational? You say, we're foundational because we went through chattel slavery. Guess what? Other black people across the Americas went through chattel slavery. So according to your own rhetoric, you shouldn't just have the FBA, you should have the FBJs, the foundational black Jamaicans, the foundational black Haitians, the foundational black Americans. What
There's
about
no
the
such
FBJ,
thing as a
the
foundational
foundational black Brazilians? Because that isn't exclusive to you alone. And then we'll ask you, what else makes you foundational? You say, we're foundational because we built up this nation in America. Guess what? Other black people by force, and you did it by force too, all built up their nations by force across the Americas, according to your own rhetoric, not mine, according to your own rhetoric as the so-called FBA that you say you are. Guess what? Other black people would be foundational too. So if we're all foundational, then you ain't foundational. You know why? Because we've all blended in. Nobody's more foundational than the next brother. You're not more. You're not a premium. You're not a premium. You're getting the idea. You're not a premium Negro above anybody else. You're not a deluxe
premium Negro, but
you're not more deluxe than any other Negroes too. So according to your own rhetoric, that goes in the bin. You say on your flag you have 1526, right? On the FBA flag, left side it says FBA, right side it says 1526. What's the importance of that? Because 1526 is the first time that BLK people start stepping into the United States of America. Therefore, one, we know you're not indigenous because you came in 1526, like it says in your flag. Two, black people in Jamaica, for example, like my people, they was in Jamaica between 1513 and 1517. That even predates what's on your FBA flag. You understand what I'm saying? So according to your own argument, they would be more foundational than you. You understand? So I don't see where you're going with your argument. It's a very weak argument. It's very weak.
Black history, I love your passion, man. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Mayhem the Mentor. My real name is Philip Kevin Dubriel, right? I come from the Matuire family of Cane River. My family has been in America since 1742. My great-grandfather was a white man, but my great-grandmother was a slave. Her name was Mary Teresa Coin. They had children, and they produced mulatto children who became the richest people of color. They built the first black Catholic church in America that was built in 1803. Right, but I'm telling you that my history, I know my history, but that doesn't make me more superior than anybody else because I have strong black history. And if you look up my family name in history, it says African Americans. It doesn't say mulatto, color, free people of color. It says African American. And this is documented. So I'm not trying to see it one way or the other. My ancestors came from Africa. I can trace my roots all the way to Africa. I came from Louisiana. My family came from Louisiana.
Exactly. Then there's nothing foundational about you then. Simple. Thank you.
Right, I'm not claiming that. I'm not claiming that I'm better or I know something. I'm just telling you that I know my history, and I'm telling you I know history, and I look forward to learning more so we can become better, not sit here and point out, well,
now you're
guys,
switching it up. When you came
Wait a
up
minute.
earlier, you came up hot and strong. You sounded like you was in support of this whole thing. You said that you're against the prompt and all
Hey,
this sort
Black
of
History,
stuff.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
All right, just a simple
But I want to let
question.
Avid speak as well. So go ahead.
Okay, so do you agree? Do you agree or do you not agree that the descendants of chattel slavery in America, do you agree or do you not agree that we're a unique ethnic group in America? Yes or no?
A unique ethnic group. Well, you can say that you're your own ethnic group because obviously the
Oh,
Amerindians are not you, are they?
all right,
And the
all right, all right, all
YTs.
right. So you
One
agree? So
moment.
you
It's not
agree?
all right. Because I'm going to answer. You asked me a question. You was able to ask a question, and I need to be able to answer the question. Right. So you're certainly not the YTs. We know that, and you're still not the Amerindians. We know that too. So, but what are you? You're still Africans at the end of the day. You might say you're a unique ethnic group because of admixture. If the admixture makes you so unique, then fine. Because again, according to the average or the typical African American, you will have 0.8% Native American DNA. That's 0.8%, by the way, not 8%. And then you
Well,
have
we can say the same thing about people in the Caribbean.
24% European DNA, and anywhere from 71% up to 91% of African DNA. At the end of the day, we check your haplogroups, and you don't have the same haplogroup as the YT. You don't have the same haplogroup as the Amerindians.
I'm not talking about
Because your
DNA.
haplogroups are E1. That's fine. I'm talking about it because your haplogroups are still E1B1A, L2A, and L1B, not FBA. E1B1A, L2A, and F1B. All of that takes you back to Western Central Africa. So you are Africans in America, but you've become citizens, isn't it? Like Elon Musk is YT, you know. He's become a citizen of America with his treble citizenship. He has citizenship of South Africa citizenship, American citizenship, Canadian citizenship. But guess what? He's still a European. He's still European. He's still a European at the end of the day, the same way you guys are still African. And that is why in your American census, it says, quote, Black or African American, end quote. Black or African American. The reason why is because, and that's the reason why the immigrants are ticking the same box, because guess what? They're ticking the box because the black part applies to them. They were black when they were in Africa. They were black when they arrived to America. That's not changed. Black is a race. The African American is your ethnicity. That's your ethnic group. Nobody can just automatically be that. So guess what? The reason why they're both next to each other, because whether you are black or whether you're African American, the roots of a black person is in Africa. The roots of the African American is still Africa. That is why they're next to each other. So you maybe say you're unique, but you're not that unique because, again, at the end of the day, you're still African. That's in your DNA.
This
Can I
sounds like
respond real quick?
jealousy.
Yeah, can I respond real quick? I would love to respond to him because so what would you call the people in Jamaica? Because we know the Caribbeans were the first place where the Atlantic slave trade started, so where they were wiped out, so which was the reason why they went into Africa in the first place. So majority of we can then say it's literally evidence when you look at the people in Jamaica and you look at the Caribbeans, they have majority African DNA, right? Correct? Black history? Hello?
Sorry, I missed what you said. Go ahead.
What would you call Jamaicans? Because we know for a fact that the Caribbeans were, after they were eradicated due to the fact that they were the first place that the slave trade had started from, they brought in Africans to repopulate the Caribbeans. So what would you say regarding the people who are in the Caribbeans who call themselves Jamaicans, Haitians, and stuff like that? Are they like Jamaicans?
Right. So just like
they Jamaicans?
So just like the FBA.
Are they Jamaicans?
So, and I'm going to ask you a question. Right. So here's the thing. Just like the FBAs or the African Americans, the shared history is this. Black people got to the Americas in 1501. Okay.
They Jamaicans.
So that's when they got to the Americas in 1501. So these black people that was taken to the Americas, they were African people. Those same
That's not what he's asking.
Across
I'm asking though. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking.
And I will answer
That's not what he's asking you, bro.
Regardless whether you like it or not, I'm going to answer the way I'm answering. What we're going to do here, because either way, I'm still going to answer it. I'm going to answer it. So it's up to you guys. But anyway, I'm just going to continue. So, like I said, all these BLK people that were brought to the Americas were all African people. They all walked off as African.
No one is disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing.
Absolutely. Jamaicans are still African people because they're not indigenous to Jamaica, isn't it? So they're still Africans. They're not the original people that populated those lands. They're not the Amerindians, are they? They're not
So
the
the current
Taínos,
Jamaicans are not
right? The same with the
are not
Barbadians. The
Jamaicans.
same with BLKs in Trinidad or BLKs in Haiti and BLKs in Dominican Republic and so on and so forth. All of these, including yourselves in the United States of America, were still all African people. You're of African descent. They all share the African haplogroups, the E1B1A, L2A, and L1B haplogroups. Yes, everybody's still African
You're just going in
descent, but with the citizenship,
circle.
American citizenship, with Jamaican citizenship, Barbadian citizenship,
Are
and
Jamaicans
so on and so forth. And that's why
African or they're
I gave you the example of Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is still European, regardless of how
they
many
so
he's going to be in
the current
America.
Jamaicans are African. That's what you're saying. They're Africans. They're not Jamaicans.
I've answered you.
So they're Africans.
Right. So they're Africans, right? What about the Haitians?
Literally, they're Africans.
So,
right?
so basically, using your logic, right? Using your logic, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, and just using the Puerto Ricans as an example, all of them have a unique heritage, right? So
Bro,
all
Puerto
of that is
Ricans,
just
bro, they're
disregarded, and all of them are just still Africans, right? Using your
They're
logic,
Africans, Carlos. They're Africans. They're
using his
Africans.
logic, right?
I answered you guys in full, so it's up to you guys how you want to.
So that means you're an African, right? So that means you don't have a unique heritage. So that means you're not a Jamaican. That means you're just an African using your heritage, right?
So like I said to you, so I'm going to answer your question. So like I already answered you the first time round, okay, when you wanted to keep cutting in, I already said to you, yes, they're Jamaican by way of nationality, right? Or because obviously they've become nationally.
So why
speaking,
can't African Americans have their own identity?
nationally speaking, Elon Musk became an American. He's still a European. Nationally speaking, Elon Musk became a South African, but he's still a European. Nationally speaking, Elon Musk became a Canadian, but he's still a European. So nationally speaking, yes, you became an African American, but you're still an African. You're still of African descent.
So
because Africa is not a country; it is a continent. That is your continental roots.
We're not talking about nationality.
So wait. So are the
There's a
current
difference.
are the current Afrikaners Africans or Europeans?
It's the first country to portray African Americans in this country. Africa is the first continent or countries to betray black people in this country.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking him: are the current Afrikaners
he's
of
not
South
gonna-
Africa?
he's not answering you.
Are they African or are they Europeans? Because majority of them right now did not come from Europe. They were born and raised in South Africa. So are they Afrikaners or are they Africans subject to South Africa, or are they Europeans who can go back and have a normal European life and be part of the European society without missing the beat? Because I mean, they're white, so they're definitely European, and they have no identity to Africa. Hello? Okay. So, like me right now, for example, I'm Nigerian. I don't claim to be African American. And I actually would go into this FBA spaces and have arguments with them and never really see the side they spoke negatively about Africans until I started coming into the African side of the FBA conversations. And it's like, I do see it because you guys try to eliminate the identity. What is it called? Africans were the first wave of people who came through the slavery, and their children were bred into slavery. Their children are the current people who are in Americas. There are the people who call themselves African Americans. They created an identity for themselves. They created a culture for themselves. Yes, it derives from the African culture that their ancestors passed down to them, but they still have a unique identity. They're not complete Africans. They're not Americans. They have their own identity they made from themselves through the struggles and through everything they persevered in this land. Same as the Jamaicans. There are Jamaicans. Yes, they have African ancestry, but they made the land theirs. Same as Puerto Ricans, same as the Afrikaners in South Africa, right?
So yes, nationally, this is what I said. Nationally speaking, yes.
Not nationally speaking, even being the right.
The black person in Jamaica is Jamaican by way of nationality, isn't it? Yes, but obviously by their continental roots, they're still African. What is your point?
Bro, the reason why you are still going at that talking point is due to the fact that you're trying to erase their uniqueness and trying to blend them into the whole one group of being African. And that is and that is what they're fighting against. Yes, they recognize their ancestry coming from Africa, but they also have their unique identity to this land. Once again, that is it. Yes, they come from Africa. Yes, their ancestors is not from Africa. Yes, if they spit in the bottle, more than half of them will probably come out more than 60% African now, or West African. My friend Jonathan spat in a bottle. What is it called? Less than 3 years ago. He's more than 68% Nigerian or West African, as it said in his report. So once again, they recognize their African roots, but right now they're focused on their own identity, their unique identity in the diaspora, which every
Focus
black
on
person.
lineage. We have an entirely different lineage from any other black group in America, in a diaspora. We have a unique culture and heritage, very unique. That's something that can't be overlooked, and it has to be acknowledged when you talk about Black Americans. We're the most iconic group of people in the whole entire world. You can't go anywhere, you can't go any place in the world where when people talk about Black people, foundational Black Americans are what people around the world try to imitate daily, and that's something that you can't deny. We're
That's
all in
because
the
you
media. They
twerk in
love
front
our
of me,
media.
Casper.
No, you
They love our
sure? You
music.
sure
They
you
love
just
our
don't? You
culture. They
sure you
love
just
our
don't want to
food.
say
We are the
Jamaican?
culture of America.
All right. So you guys unique. So you don't think Jamaica is way unique in everything that we do?
Exactly. That is what I'm trying to say. Is like the people who migrated there are literally Jamaicans now. You can't try to basically hold their African ancestries over their head and say, "Oh, you're African." No shit. They come from
No,
African
what
ancestry.
basically
But
your
it's still
statement
African.
are you
Can I
guys
ask
are the
this?
most unique.
Right.
It's not a competition though. But basically, everybody can classify themselves as the most unique because it's
Right.
actually if you actually state about anything about Jamaican, you can know say people want to talk like Jamaican, they want to eat Jamaican food, they want to see everything, our culture, everything's like way. But we wouldn't say we are the most unique in the world and we're different from any
Yeah,
other
but
set of
where are we
black
getting
group.
with this
That's
anyway? They're
different.
arguing about who's more unique. This is the same argument about who's more foundational. So stripping it.
Well, let me add this right here, man. I like what's going on, but I would say I don't believe that we are trying to erase the. I don't believe that free Black Americans are trying to erase the history that Africans helped or us. The foundation of our ancestors were African slaves. I don't think no Black American. I do this for a living. When I do my shows or my programs, I have immigrants and I have people from Jamaica, all type of backgrounds that come out and we speak on this behalf. We don't
I've been listening to everybody, and none of you not
we
not
don't
even
erase
saying.
our history. We don't erase history at
I'm
all.
not saying nobody out here actually dead wrong about anything. You understand? But basically, when we can actually really just say this clearly, none of us are really special. We're more individual in our own group, as with different identity, and that's cool. But none of us are really special than the other person.
Well,
You
let me say
understand?
this. Let me say, what Carlos. Well, I'm gonna piggyback what Carlos was trying to say. Right? He's saying the consequences of being a Black American is we accidentally ended up being the most influential people on the planet.
Well, that's subjective.
Hold up.
Why would you say that?
Fine.
Well, let me explain myself. And you can
In
go
your
to
opinion,
China.
where
You
you
can go to
going with
India. They try to be like Ice Cube. They don't try to be like Bob Marley. They try to be like
The whole
Tupac,
Wait,
K-pop
Michael
is
Jackson.
where you
based
getting it
off
Listen,
from, bro?
African American.
all over the
Bro,
planet.
where you
Listen,
getting it from?
I'm a student of this planet. I'm 50 years old. I teach history. Listen, man, it's 195 different countries on this planet. I know what I'm talking about.
Bro, do you know say Bob Marley got like so much different songs and national anthem for their national anthem song? Do you know
So
that?
who you think more influential, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, or Michael Jordan?
Bro,
Bob Marley gotta be Bob Marley, bro.
You think Bob Marley is more influential than Michael Jackson?
Matter? Hold on. Why does
Jeez.
any of this matter? I don't understand. Where are we going with this?
We're talking about influence. We're talking about influence. We're talking about people who set trends
All right,
around the
brother,
globe.
what you call influence? All right, you see Bob Marley. Bob Marley, listen, Bob Marley is not a pop star. Bob Marley is a
It's an icon.
revolutionary.
Absolutely.
It's a
Iconic.
totally different thing from pop star or it just when you look at Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther, Martin Luther, Bob Marley. These are the names. Abumba, we come from Africa. These are the names where you can't put Bob Marley name with. You know, put them with pop star like
You got
Ice Cube
Usain Bolt.
and Michael Jackson. That's a totally
Usain
different
Bolt.
league.
Right. Right, but we got people like Frederick Douglass. We got people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali. Influence.
We got people that influence the world. Our civil rights bill is the civil rights that laid the template for every other country that followed in the entire world to even come up with an idea of civil rights. We were the template for that.
Listen, it all starts from Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, man.
It starts
from
Frederick Douglass, not Marcus Garvey. Frederick Douglass is
everyone them walk out about Marcus Garvey.
Ain't nobody more important than Frederick Douglass as far as American history is concerned. He's our forefather. I am an American citizen. Black historian.
No one more important.
Marcus Garvey is important for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, he's important. I'm not going to sit there and discredit Marcus Garvey. He is important. I talk about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey is in my history book. I got a book with Marcus Garvey in it. But when we talk about the foundation, we got to talk about Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, W.B.T. Du Bois, George Washington Carver. These are our forefathers in America. That's Black American history, not Black history, but Black American history.
But at the same time, you cannot negate the works, the efforts of African people in America. So
I will never do that. I will never do that.
But let me explain this. Hold on 1 second. But let me explain this. So just like, for example, like the host says in his prompt, right? Africans built America, but FBAs are trying to erase that history. So again, we have to acknowledge the history of how BLK people got there, right? When the YTs rounded up BLK people from Africa, they weren't foundational Black Americans. They were African.
Became foundational once we came here and we created.
1 moment, please. Thank you. They walked off those ships in the Americas as Africans. They didn't walk off those ships as foundational Black Americans. And again, you didn't officially and nationally, officially and federally become a citizen until 1868, the ratification of the 14th Amendment in the United States of America. That's what allowed individuals to now become citizens, and that was very significant and important to BLK people in America. So yes, you may have voted before 1868, but again, the Supreme Court, the highest court of America, made it very clear in 1857 by the Dred Scott ruling. They said, we don't care whether you are free, we don't care whether you are enslaved in the United States of America. You ain't no citizen of the United States of America. But all that changed for the Black American in 1868, because now you've become a citizen. Now, prior to 1868, there was a minute number of BLK people that were being deemed as free. There was a minute number of BLK people that were deemed as being citizens. That was a total of around 11% of BLK people in America. 11% only were being deemed as citizens of America. So that was about just over 400,000, less than 500,000 people. But it was millions. It was approximately around 4 million about 4 million people approximately that were deemed as not being free and that were deemed as not being citizens of the United States of America. So a whopping 89% of BLK people in America were not deemed as being citizens prior to 1868. And so everything being built in America before 1868, especially when you guys say we want to delineate, we want to take what's ours, we taking this, we taking that, fine. But anything built in America prior to 1868, therefore, would have been built by Africans and not foundational Black Americans. You weren't deemed as an American citizen when that White House was being built. So that was built by Africans. You weren't deemed as an American citizen when the Capitol was built. The Smithsonian Institute was built. When Wall Street, New York was being built. When the railroads in America was being built. So even to deal with a statement like, what's his name? Tariq Nasheed might say, yeah, but if that's the case, why wasn't you building that in Africa? Well, duh, because there was no requirement to build a White House in Africa. There was no requirement to build those railroads in Africa. All these buildings were still being done by force. They were not voluntary buildings being built by African people. So again, according to what their host has got in his prompt, it would be factually correct to say, yes, these are absolutely the contributions and the doings, the works and the achievements of Africans in America. You understand? And even those inventions, things being built prior to 1868 would also be the inventions of Africans in America until you become nationally, federally, legally, and officially being deemed as citizens in 1868. At that point, now you've become a citizen
Can I say
of
something?
America.
Can I
So you've
interject?
gone from being an African in America to now being deemed as an African American.
Can I interject? All right.
I didn't
So,
even get a chance to speak yet, man. That's messed up, bro. Right? What we
my
dealing with?
bad. I'm half
See,
listening
look,
and I ain't really been
look.
paying attention. But go ahead,
It's
do your
like,
thing.
well, I'm gonna be short, man, and short and sweet. All right. What we've been hearing right now so far is a bunch of people that everybody used to look up to, and now that you lost influence, you became paranoid. Like, cut the shit, man. Nobody don't look up to you guys anymore. Just take it as that, right? And let's all move on, right? Like, all of this, they're coming to take our jobs, they're stealing our resources, you know what I mean? Taking our women, you know, they're buying gold teeth and all that stuff. Nah, bro. Nobody ain't doing that no more. Martin's not on TV anymore. There's no more Soul Train. All of Michael Jackson, James Brown, all that stuff you did, it was an era. It came, the era is now gone, all right? Just like, look, if I keep mentioning 1804 Haitian Revolution, that's my people, right? I don't see no need to mention it anymore. What I see a need to mention now is to sound the alarm for my Haitian people to get ready to pack up and leave this country, all right? Since you want it so bad, you could have it. It's your country. We know you got this big fight with white tea supremacy coming up. We just want to get out the way so it can happen quicker, right? Yeah, this diaspora war is only one thing that needs to happen. All immigrants get out the way, stay out the way, and let these people deal with their oppressors. You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe they might come out on top, and the United States could be a black utopia for everyone. You know, throw some uniforms and go fight for your reparations. You know what I mean? Instead of fighting people that are unprotected. You know what I'm saying? You go past the richest people on the pyramid to go denigrate and make fun of you're making fun of people who eat mud cookies and I don't know what other insults you guys throw around, but that's your culture. You know what I mean? You need degeneracy for you to have a talking point and shit. That's just whack as hell, and it's cowardly. This is coming from a cowardly country that instead of being a superpower and protecting the smaller countries, you rather invade and unalive presidents and, you know, cause a blockade and steal huge amounts of oil and starve other countries, you know what I'm saying? Cuba and Venezuela in particular. You know what I'm saying? Lord knows what they did to my country because, we did the unthinkable, 245,000 gringos unalived, you know what I mean? So we're cursed because of that, you know what I mean? And now we come to a point where we have become an embarrassment to humanity with our behavior, man, as black people, our land.
Big up, Boston. How you doing? You all right?
All right, can I go ahead now? All right, so like I was saying, bro. So you got the idea of lineage misconstrued with citizenship. Even though we may have gotten citizenship in the 1860s, that still does not change the fact that we are a specific lineage group of people that were born in America at the foundation of this country. Whether or not you want to say we were foundational by the time until we got our citizenship or not, we were still a lineage, the same group of people, the same bloodline, the same family, the same people who built this country up until that point and after this point. So what you're saying, talking about us being foundational up until we had citizenship, is really irrelevant and inconsequential.
No, that's not the problem. The problem is, we know you guys are safe stuff people, but when you actually get citizenship and say you're not that type of people, that make it become an argument. We have questioned it and say, what? You was African a century ago and now you're not African anymore?
All right, so
You
using
like
your
this?
logic, right? You're Jamaican, right? Using your logic, right? So
Yeah.
with black people in America, right? What problem? What is the problem with us acknowledging our unique history and heritage, right? From anybody like you guys in Jamaica, acknowledging your unique heritage
No,
and
it's
history.
fine, bro. That's not the
So
problem. The problem is what you say. We're not
Weaponizing.
from Africa. We're not from Africa.
Not only that,
You
but they
understand?
So
actually
why? So if you're
weaponize it.
not from Africa, if you can be Jamaican and not be from Africa, why can't I be a
No,
foundation of
I
Black
am from
America and
Africa.
not be from
I
Africa?
am from Africa, but that's
Carlos,
I am
hold
from
up.
Africa.
Carlos, let me say this right here. See, I think something they fail to realize is
Right,
before
we
we
are Afro-Jamaican. We're
hold up,
Afro-Jamaican.
listen,
We're not indigenous, are we? So
hold
we're
up.
still from Africa.
Hold up, before we became citizens, we were classified as animals, bro. So I don't know what we wasn't African, bro. So they talking
Bro,
again.
you was African anyway. Don't listen to them.
No, I'm telling you.
They say that. They
Listen,
say that.
we was
They say that.
Going
I know
back to
they
what
say
you
that.
said, right? On a
listen,
legal
bro.
basis, before emancipation, we were considered property. We weren't
Property.
considered
I know.
African. We
We're
were considered
considered
property
Africans,
legally.
bro. So listen, but listen, you know what I'm saying? So let me say that. Let me just say so again, but that should not discourage us as Black Americans not to connect and identify with being African, even though we were considered property.
That's all I'm saying.
I got you. But let me talk about Haiti real quick, man, because I just found out a lot of history about Haiti, right? Because again, I just told you my family come from Louisiana, right, which is out there. But something I did not know, right? Because of the tremendous fight that Haiti put up during the fight with France, that fight that the Haitians put up for their liberations when they got liberated, a lot of Black Americans don't know this, right? But that fight caused Napoleon to be in a financial need, which is why he went to Thomas Jefferson to sell the Louisiana Purchase. So America ended up getting the Louisiana like all of the West Coast of America because of the Haitians, bro. And a lot of, I found out, I was doing the history and I looked that up, and you do the history on this fight. They said the Haitians, they were using their religion to defeat these soldiers, and they scared these soldiers. They said these soldiers were the French soldiers when they came out of Haitian, they had seen something they never saw. They scared the soldiers so bad that they couldn't get them. And it ended up messing up Napoleon because Napoleon was taking over the world. Napoleon had Napoleon was one of the best armies in the world. They were finna take, Napoleon was almost hit in line with Hitler for us, like taking over the planet, right? But the Haitians defeated them, right? And because of that, it put Napoleon in a compromising positions where he ended up having to sell the Louisiana territory to Thomas Jefferson for $3 million, which is how we ended up getting all of that. And then also Louisiana, a lot of the Haitians, when this happened, they left Haitian and they came into Louisiana. They came to New Orleans and they came in and that's how I'm related to, that's how my family, because when I did my DNA, I have Haitian in my background. And I'm like, where's that come from? But that come from because during this time when all this was going
Can
on,
I
that's
speak?
how, go ahead. That's it. I was gonna land my plane.
Black American, Black History. I came up here to get a little information on how do you know our people, our bloodline, to be sitting up here teaching a history that is not true and trying to connect us back to Africans as if you know our peoples. Do you know my mother, father, grandmother, etc.? Can you please tell me that, sir? You get on this app every day running your fucking blood pressure up and don't even know what the fuck you be talking about. We not no motherfucking Africans, motherfucker.
You know what? I didn't hear anything this woman said. Was you talking to me?
Man, you heard what the fuck I said. You heard exactly what the fuck I said. You get on this app every day running your motherfucking blood pressures up about Black Americans. That's what the fuck I said.
Try control your blood pressure.
Do you know my mother? Do you know my grandmother?
I wouldn't
Can
need
you
to.
tell me who my peoples are?
Realize it's all man up here. We're not cursing no bad word. Listen, we all men up here. None of us use a curse word.
So what's your
Have
problem?
manners,
They can't
please.
even build their own fucking country up. You want to say they came over here?
Okay, wait. What's she complaining about? Because I actually never heard.
Nobody not cursing no words. Stop cursing words.
Sorry, what do you say, Pezzy?
But I tell her, nobody, we all man up here, none of us using no curse word. Why should she, as a woman, come up here and try to be disrespectful? Stop. All of us up here, man, we're
Yeah,
talking
what's up?
respectful. We
Do you
probably
know
not
what?
agree with
You
each
man,
other, but
I
we're
was doing
not
something in the
cursing.
background, but I knew she came
and
up
you
for me.
jealous.
I knew she came up for me, but I was busy and then I heard
Man,
she was
and you
chatting. So I'm just trying to find out what she's saying.
jealous. Stand.
Have you been able to debunk anything I've said so far? What's her name? Kawhi?
You
Have you been
don't
able
even
to
know my
debunk
family, so you
anything?
motherfucking right. I can debunk every motherfucking thing you said out your goddamn mouth because you ain't got shit to tell
About the
me.
FBA,
Listen,
about
if you don't stop cursing, you just
Your
gotta
fat
take her
ass
down.
get on this app every day. Don't do nothing but
If
Exactly,
you want to talk
1868. Have you been
normal,
able
that's
to?
okay.
Hold on, Prezi, hold on.
talk because it
Have
was
you been able to debunk what was said again about
shut your
1868 and citizenship in the United States of America? Or you just
motherfucker
came,
been debunked.
or did you just came to cast?
Your big fat grease ass.
Yeah, you big fat ass and all this shit. And is that all you got to say? Yeah, cussing your ass and blah blah blah. Is that all you gotta say? Kuwait,
She's
anymore?
crazy.
Anymore? Let it all out, my darling. Let it all out, love.
Look, all these gentlemen up here, they talking normal all day. We don't agree, but none of us is cursing with each other. You understand that?
What the fuck I want to agree with a bunch of idiots, but as if they know my history.
So why you come up here then?
Can
Just
you
go.
educate me
Please
about,
leave.
You know
about
my
the prompt?
mother or my
Why don't you answer the
don't know
prompt?
my blood.
That's
Because
fine. We
y'all,
don't need to know your bloodline. We're not
Lost
asking.
mother.
Do you want to answer the prompt, or are we going to drop you
Y'all
down
don't know
from whence you came? What are we
who
doing?
y'all are.
Are we going to be
And you
dropping you
jealous.
from whence you came?
Nah,
Or are you going
come
to answer the
on.
prompt? You going to answer the prompt?
You flee your country.
Right. Well, let me help
And
you
they
out.
say
We're going to
we
drop you
as
back.
man
Thank
have
you
high
very much.
testosterone. Just
Thank you for
imagine.
your contributions to the host lives. And Kuwait, please, whilst you're down there, please double tap the live, okay, my love? Thank you very much. Everybody double tap the live, guys. Thank you. Help the host out. All right?
Oh
Help the
God,
host out,
pure
guys.
man up here. We're not arguing. None of us ain't telling no word. None of that. We not agree. We're not agreeing with each other, but we actually have a debate. We talk. Come on, chill.
So I wish the
All
best
right,
thing,
anyway.
I need FBA.
Black
This is what
history.
I need.
So let me
This is what I
ask you
need
another
for
question.
FBA. This is what I
Yo.
need, bro. I need FBA to help us figure out how to get the United States military out of our airport, man. That's really what I want.
All right, what's the last question? I'll take steak. Maybe one, maybe two more because I'm going to be going. Hold on 1 second. Jay, are you there? Jay on the panel?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, no, just letting because I'm going to be dropping down shortly. So I think you'll be the only moderator up here.
All right.
Yeah.
Copy.
So what was your question, Carlos?
So you're saying who's saying that Africa contributed to America? Who's
I'm
saying
saying
that?
it.
You're saying that. Where you from?
And the host is saying it too.
Where you from? Where you from?
UK sounds like the same place as you.
No, where's your people from? Africa.
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yep.
All right. Can I enlighten you on something?
You can try. Go ahead.
Whereabouts in Jamaica are your people from?
Why does all this matter?
Why? Because you don't sound Jamaican.
Kingston. Go ahead.
No, I think you're lying. You're lying, bro. You're lying.
Fine.
I know that's why you're saying fine because you don't know fucking liar. You hear me? You're a little fucking liar, star. You're a fucking scoops. You see what it is?
Right. Okay. See you later, guys. You guys are jokes.
What's going on?
I don't know. They're from a screw in the wall.
Man your manners, man your blood
I don't
clot.
know. Maybe they're on the pretending thing. I don't know. They might be on the pretending thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you just take one people to trigger the panel, and the whole panel get mad.
Exactly. Is that? I thought he was gonna enlighten me. All I heard, like, what the fuck are we doing with it? Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how that helped them though. So Kingston, now what? What are we doing? Like what? I don't really know. Some people are not right, man. But yeah, so that's that. Carlos, are you there? I think you said there was something you wanted to say or something. Okay.
He might be
Lincoln, you just came up on the panel. Lincoln 58.
Yeah, yeah, man. How y'all doing? This is my first time here, and I'm enjoying myself. A lot of intellectual talk, and I'm here in Maryland, originally from Nigeria, and I'm looking at the prompt. Yeah, Africa did a lot of stuff. I know for a fact back in my place we still have relics of slavery how it happened. We have families that sold people because back in my culture, Back in the days, twins were seen as evil, and a lot of them got sold, and a lot of things happened, and those relics are still back in Africa, and it's sad that now people are saying they are from the U.S. Their nativity is from the United States. That means they didn't even come from Africa. They're from a totally different breed of people. When that's not factually true, because again, there are paperwork. There's if you go to Ghana, if you go to Nigeria, we have the Bite of Benin, then we have the Bite of Biafra. There were kings that were associated with all this stuff, and those are history, right? I don't have a problem with FBA saying, you know what, we want a unique identity for ourselves. Since we've been here for the longest, we've been here. We're part of how this place got built. I don't have a problem with that. But the problem I have is when you start to delineate yourself from where you are originally from. As a matter of fact, everybody's from Africa. The earliest found skull of a human is in Africa, and everybody from there now spread out.
But why do you mention that?
What the fight is all
Why do you
about.
mention that then? What is the
It's because
significance of mentioning that everybody's from Africa when we're having a conversation like this? Because that does, I don't think that helps your point. That kind of.
What I mean is, it might not even be. This is just archaeological find. It may or may not be true, but I'm just saying there's this trying to run away from anything Africa that is going on, and it doesn't make sense. It's okay. I believe if Africa was doing if Africa was doing wonderfully well, and I believe everybody want to come from Africa, but if it's looked upon as not being as successful as it should be, then maybe everybody want to get up out of there. I understand what it is.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I understand why you're saying you're bringing up the how everybody comes out of Africa sort of thing, but I don't think that helps in an argument like this, because that applies to everybody, including a YT, including a Chinese man. You know what I'm saying? That any person around the world. So that doesn't really.
That's why we talk
help the
about
point.
the lineage. That's why we talk about lineage. Lineage. It's a difference.
Yeah, but even if we talk about the lineage of the African American, it's still going to lead you back to Africa again with your haplogroups.
That's
L2A,
inconsequential.
L1B,
Everybody comes from
E1,
Africa, but not
B1A.
everybody is a
The difference
descendant.
between you and everyone coming out of Africa is that African Americans and Jamaicans and Caribbean people, BLKs, we all have recent African DNA, unlike the whiteys. You know what I'm saying? Unlike the Aboriginal Australians, unlike the Indigenous Americans, and so on and so forth.
Just a group of people trying to reset a new
Yeah.
timeline.
Absolutely right, Buster. They want to. These are people. Yeah, I don't blame them. These are people. They're not unhappy with you or me. They have grievances against God. They want a refund on the story that God has written for them. You know, they want to exchange on identity. That's what it is, and that's why it's all about this identity crisis. And their policy is anything but Africa. That's their policy. Anything but Africa.
Aha, this makes sense. A lot of sense. Because you would wonder why all of a sudden, like, why are these people getting restless? Why can't you enjoy the peace that the civil rights left you with? You know what I mean? Why you have to stir up the pot? You know what I mean? We're all older now. You know? Well, I have to go back and remember the shit I used to say in 5th and 6th grade, you know, to people that were, you know, bullying me and calling me names. Like, come on. At this point, I just say, look, all right, you can do all the name calling and all that stuff you want to. It still doesn't negate the fact that this country is in a downward spiral, and you're trying to test the waters to see who's loyal enough to say that we want to stay here. No, time is up, man. We got to go. Period, man. I'd rather rebuild from scratch so I could rebuild higher than the people that are bad-mouthing me than to be up top and fall all the way down like King Kong in the Empire State Building. You reached up to the top for nothing, just to fall. You know what I mean? People who talk up top, you got to remember, there's nowhere else to go when you're all the way up top. You're at the top of the food chain, butt down. And they're scared and paranoid because they don't know how it's going to go down. But it's coming down. It's unstoppable. Other people got to come up, man. You know what I'm saying? Our land.
Exactly. All right. Vibes, I guess you're not there. You're probably not there.
Can I chime in again?
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm going to be going, man. So big up to everybody anyway on the panel. And everybody just double tap the live as well for the host. Double tap, please. If you're on the panel as well, please double tap. And grab a heart me. It's only 1 TikTok coin. All right, it's 1 TikTok coin for a heart me. All right, tap the follow button if you're not already following the host.
Like I was saying, he keep talking about everybody comes from Africa. That's inconsequential. Everybody does. But we talking about lineage. The same way you and your family have a lineage that descend from the people enslaved in Jamaica, and that's something unique to you and your family. Me and my family all have a unique history where we are descendants of the people who were descendants of the people enslaved in the United States of America. That's what makes up our lineage. It's something that's specifically unique to us that no one else can claim, or no one else has a right to. Not saying we're superior or better than anybody, but it's just us acknowledging our history.
Carlos, that applies to the Chinese man in China. It applies to the Indian in India. It applies to the Pakistani in Pakistan. It applies to the Australian in Australia. It applies to the American in America.
What applies to them?
Like what? So we know this. Yes, the African American will not be the Jamaican. Jamaican will not be the Barbadian. The Barbadian will not be the Haitian. The Haitian will not be, and so on and so forth.
We not the same, bro.
What is the point?
No, like the point is, y'all not us, and we not y'all.
Right, and also you have people like Black History that tries to get us
from
to
being
make.
African descent. The same way is Donald
Not
Trump
of
European.
African descent.
Is
We're not.
Donald Trump and his wife European?
I guess whatever he want to
What
claim.
they are.
Well, there you go. So they're European. So they might, no matter how much you
So
Americanize.
what does that have to do with what I'm saying?
No matter how much you Americanize Melania Trump, right? She's still gonna be a European. You can Americanize her as much as you want. You can make her you can make her the first lady. That's still she's still gonna be a European. You understand?
Bro,
And it still applies.
we want
And
y'all to
Donald
just stop
Trump and Elon Musk, these are all YTs. So you can Americanize as much as you want.
Can
But
we have
you
a
ain't-
conversation?
but unlike Aboriginals in Australia, that's been in Australia for up to 65,000 years, they've made a blood delineation from Africa. They're no longer African. Unlike the Amerindians in the Americas, that's been there for at least some 23,000 years based on the archaeological evidence, the white sands footprints found in New Mexico. These people have made a blood delineation. You see, you can't compare, or we can't compare, our 500 plus years of presence. For example, you got
Jealous.
15.
You just
You
jealous.
got 1526 on the FBA flag.
Who is we?
1520
Who is
hold up.
we?
You got 1526. You got
Who is we? You speaking of-
1526 on the FBA flag. You
Why
do the
can't
maths,
nobody else talk on
and
the panel?
today is 2026.
Because they got these pan Africans
1526.
running it.
Today is 2026. How are you going to compare an exact 500 years presence in America, 500 years, to indigenous Americans that's been in the
Indigenous
Americas
Americans.
for some 23,000 years, who's actually made a blood delineation and you have not? How are you going to compare your little 500 years presence
You sound
in
like you in the
America
UK and not
to
in
the
your
Aboriginal Australians that's been there for 65,000 years and actually made a blood delineation? 500 years isn't enough time for you to have made a delineation by blood.
We had an
You might feel,
ethnogenesis. You don't.
one
You
might
not in your
feel, you
homeland.
might
You in the
emotionally feel that you have delineated, but it's not by blood. You've
Got
not
an
made
ethnogenesis.
no true delineation. You're still African.
Ethnogenesis.
And that is why the FBA versus DNA will continue to be the biggest battle that you guys will ever face. FBA versus
DNA
DNA.
Don't worry about
anything.
You don't
What
want to
about
do
y'all?
DNA tests. You guys keep talking about genealogy this and genealogy that.
We had an
Most
ethnogenesis.
Most BLK people can't do their,
Ethnogenesis.
you can't do the
test alone
genealogy
would not
past the
work solely for
1700s. Most BLKs can't do genealogy past the 1700s
Can you
anyway.
shut the fuck
We had
Not
an
like that.
ethnogenesis.
So
They
somebody
not
else
like
can
that.
talk.
They
And
not
how
like
far
that.
can you trace your
Let
family back to
somebody else
Jamaica?
talk.
How
Let
far can you
somebody
trace?
else talk, man.
You didn't have no ethnogenesis.
You guys are hot,
You letting
man.
us talk.
Let somebody
We
You
had
guys
an
are hot.
Security be on
ethnogenesis.
these pan
You
Africans.
guys
We
are
became
They
a
let us
into
whole
talk.
new
you guys
group
are
of
into
people because we
feelings-based
we
education. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Man,
let
fuck
somebody
you,
else
suck a
talk.
black dick,
Hey, you
nigga.
in the UK? You not even home, you booty scratcher.
Yeah,
That's
you don't
right.
have
Well, do you know what? Who did you get your independence from? You got your independence from England. So
Hey, it
how about
doesn't
that?
matter. Can you let somebody else talk,
So
please, yo? Cause you
You're
ain't
not
saying
saying
you
nothing.
shit.
guys are triggered, bro.
All this
You ain't
bullshit.
saying
Who else
nothing.
You guys
foundation of
are
Black American?
triggered.
Am I the only person?
Nah, you not. Nah, you man, look, Slim.
You guys are
bullshit.
This
First of
nappy
all,
head post monkey nigga right here talking, man.
No, we're not
Oh,
doing
come on,
that.
you cussing black people. You gotta come off the panel. I don't think host wants that on this panel. You don't want
All right,
BOKs
so
to be
listen,
racist.
here, listen
Y'all
here.
trying to police this candy, bro. Have a
So
conversation.
are you saying
correct.
that we didn't have an ethnogenesis when we came to this country?
You had an ethno Tariq Nasheed, man. You ain't no ethno.
You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. So if you're saying we didn't have
Who
an
balled then,
ethnogenesis,
though?
right?
What's your ethnicity,
If
bro?
you're saying we didn't have an ethnogenesis, right?
You had
Using your same logic, right?
hidden
Using your
colors.
logic, right? You have to use the same logic for the Jamaicans and every other African ethnic group in the Caribbean. If you want to say that. So
I
you
don't
mean
know,
to tell me
man.
the Jamaicans didn't have an ethnogenesis? You want to tell me the Haitians didn't have an ethnogenesis? Using your logic, right?
Haitian people are having
Using yes or no. Did the Jamaicans and the Haitians and every other group in the Caribbean have an ethnogenesis when they came over there as enslaved people? Yes or no?
no, they did not because they are
So you're basically telling me that the Haitians who acknowledge their unique heritage and culture, they didn't have an ethnogenesis where they created an entirely different ethnic group from the people that they came from. That's what you're saying.
No, they have not. They kept their original language and their original customs.
So you're saying that's the same ethnic group, despite their cultural differences, the culture that they created once they got there, and the heritage that happened to them in these countries up until that point. You're trying to say that they're not a unique ethnic group. That's what you're saying. And so you're saying they're just a generic African.
What's his question? What are you trying to ask?
I'm asking you, using your logic, right? If you're saying that foundational Black Americans did not have an ethnogenesis, using your logic,
Who said that? I never mentioned those words. You said those words.
Okay, so all right, so not you. Just speaking in general. Just speaking in general. Just speaking in general.
Don't be disingenuous.
Okay, just speaking in general. Just speaking in general. Just using somebody's logic.
Yes, an ethnogenesis. So what?
If Black Americans didn't have an ethnogenesis, right?
According to who? According to who? Because there's already an issue with your first statement.
You're saying you're saying that we did. I'm saying what I'm saying is
you want to have the same debate every day.
The Africans that came over here that are the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, we are a unique ethnic group. We are a unique ethnic group, right? And you guys are saying that we're not because we didn't have an ethnogenesis to allow us to be a unique ethnic group despite our unique heritage.
I never said that. I don't know who you guys is. You guys, I'm not part of the you guys.
I'm not speaking directly to you. I'm just speaking in general. Speaking in general.
All right, but you gotta eat some coon meat as well, though, Wanzowski. Please.
All right, so using that logic, right?
That you can also take only throw insults that you can receive, yeah.
All right, so using that logic, right? You're Jamaican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So using that logic, if
Jamaicans had ethnogenesis too, yes.
No, okay. So so using that logic, if Jamaicans had an ethnogenesis, why can't foundational Black Americans have an ethnogenesis? Or why?
But then again, I don't know who you're referring to because you're not referring to me.
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. If you're saying that your lineage had an ethnogenesis once they came to Jamaica after being enslaved, what difference does that make from the Americans, the Africans that went to America? Why couldn't they have had an ethnogenesis?
I'm so confused, bro. I just told you they both had ethnogenesis.
Oh, so you agree that foundational Black Americans had an ethnogenesis?
African Americans had ethnogenesis, and they're not the only ones that it's not exclusive.
No, we're not talking about everybody else. We're not talking about everybody else. I'm not talking about,
because when you explain these things in these talkings in these groups, you make it appear that all these talking points are exclusive to the so-called African American, and it is not. We keep hearing, oh, Black is exclusive to the African American when it's not. When other people are Black too, it's a race. We keep hearing, oh, foundationalism would only be exclusive to the African American. You ask the African American what makes you foundational, you say because you was there before 1776. Other Black people in the Americas was there before their independence too. You're not the only one. You say we are foundational because we built up America. Other Black people across the Americas were also forced to build up their nations too. You are not the only ones that built up your nations. You will say that African Americans are foundational because we were subject to chattel slavery, but you weren't the only ones that were subject to chattel slavery across the Americas. So if all those things make you foundational and they are not exclusive to you, then that would mean by your own logic, other black people across the Americas would be foundational too.
What
Again,
other black
it's not
people?
exclusive to you. Now you're talking about we had ethnogenesis, are we distinct
What other
ethnic
black
group,
people?
but due to ethnogenesis, yes, but
What
you're
other black?
still not the only ones because yes, what did you mix with?
What other black people?
Africans being in America mixed with who? They whiteys. They got 24%
It doesn't matter who.
European admixture, 0.8%
That
Native
doesn't matter.
American admixture. But due to the mixing with Native Americans who are Amerindians, and due to mixing with the whiteys who are
That doesn't
Europeans,
matter.
and so you got the African there, you got the mix with the Native American, you got the mix with the
That does
whitey.
not
But
matter.
guess what? Even in Jamaica now, what do we have in Jamaica? We have BLK people arriving, so still Africans, just like in America. And then who do they start to mix with as well? They also start some mixing with the Taino populations. What are the Tainos? They are Amerindians. They literally share the same haplogroup, the Q haplogroup, as the Native Americans in North America. You understand? They are still the same peoples. You understand? So that's an ethnogenesis too, especially when there's some of them also been mixed with the YT. So you got YT there, and so there you go. You got the blending of those cultures. You got the blending of those people, right? Of different ethnic groups, all blending with each other. There you go. Ethnogenesis. Bam. Now what? Now what? Now you're not the only ones. Now what? Where are we going on your argument now? Now that we know it don't just apply to the FBA, to the African American. Now what? Argument done. Argument done. Now what? You're not exclusive to you, and that's fine.
When I talk, I let you talk, and y'all disconnected me. So can I talk? Hello? Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Say what you gotta say.
All right. So you just did a whole lot of talking, and you keep trying to say that this ethnogenesis applies to every black person or everybody in America, but I'm specifically talking about the group of people who are descendants of the American system of chattel slavery. Those are a specific group of people, no matter who they were, no matter who they mixed with, Native American, YT American, we were still classified as black. And by the time of emancipation, we were legally classified as black freedmen in America, legally. That doesn't apply to just everybody. That is a specific recognized group of people in America, descendants of American chattel slavery. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Can I ask you a question, please?
I'm trying to understand who's arguing that because I'm just trying to understand the argument because no one is arguing that you are not your Pacific ethnic group. So I'm trying to understand what is the argument because all
I think he's arguing with himself, Alki.
yeah, I'm trying to understand what's the argument because all I'm hearing is that you're saying that you're your Pacific ethnic group. That you are. Nobody can be the African American, no matter how you try. If you're not a descendant of chattel slavery in America, you cannot be the African American. So no one is arguing that point.
I'm sorry you had me mention that to him already.
Same way if you're not a descendant of Barbadian chattel slavery, you can consider yourself as
a Barbadian,
Afro-Barbadian or Barbadian.
Right.
So unless you get naturalized through citizenship. So I don't understand what is the argument. Nobody is arguing with you for your ethnicity. Nobody's arguing that. But outside of ethnicity, your race is still black. And your black race still comes from the continent of Africa. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is within the black race. There's plenty of ethnicities existing and plenty cultures existing within the black race. Not only yours.
All right, so I hear what you're saying.
Can I chip in something, please? Can I say something, bro? Real quick. I live in the States, and anytime we do data, be filling out a form or doing employment, there's only African American, Indian, Latino, white. The designation you guys are trying to, put yourself in is not even recognized by the government. So going back to what we're saying, Barack Obama was the first African American president. He wasn't the first African president. He had a Kenyan father, which makes him Kenyan. But because he was born in the United States in Hawaii, he's an African American. So I'm not sure what we're dragging. Nobody's dragging anything with you guys. We understand the peculiarity or the distinct features or how the history came about. Nobody's arguing that. You guys are distinct in your own place.
Okay,
I
so
think the problem is
okay,
trying to say, you know what, because we're distinct, we ain't got nothing to do with Africa or Africa. We never came from Africa. That makes it almost look preposterous. That's all I gotta say.
okay, so let me say something. Okay, so when somebody says foundational Black American, right? My first point, it's not disacknowledging that they have DNA that comes from Africa somewhere down the line. And at this point, that's pretty inconsequential because everybody comes from Africa, okay? All right, so my second point, okay, so going back to these three different terms, Black and African. Well, I'm gonna just stick with African American. The reason why Black Americans that are descendant of American chattel slavery are getting away from using the term African American because it doesn't fully identify us. Want to know why? Because someone like Elon Musk can come from South Africa and then they can gain citizenship and now they're an African American, right? Legally, technically, right?
Right.
Yes or no?
Right.
So
Elon Musk can never legally be an African American. I
no.
don't know.
But technically,
Elon
he's an
Musk
African
can
American,
never
right?
be
Going
an
back to
African. He can never be an African American. You're talking.
he was born in South Africa, right?
Right.
He was born in South Africa, right?
Right.
And then he comes over here and immigrates to America, right?
Right.
So technically, can't he say he's an African American?
Yeah, that's how it works. Off a technicality. Yeah.
Right. So
African American. He can never be African American. Stop spreading misinformation. He can never be.
What they got to understand, Carlos, is that the African Americans that they call African Americans in America, we've been here for thousands of years. You know, that's the history of it. That's the history that they've been denied.
But okay, I hear what you're saying. So
we've been here for
disagreeing
thousands of
saying
years.
that he can't be an African American, right?
Afro people are indigenous to the Americas, to Australia, to Africa, to everywhere. You know, it's not an anomaly.
I'm not saying it is, but I'm just using this as an example from a foundational Black American perspective.
That is BS too.
No. So do you not? So look at how that looks from our ethnic group to where we can allow anybody else to come in and call themselves an African American off a technicality, right? We're not identifying ourselves as African Americans.
Spreading misinformation. Elon
So you're
be an African.
So where's the misinformation? So was Elon Musk not born in South Africa?
Are you gonna let some person, because I don't understand what you're saying. Elon Musk can never be an African American. African American is a Pacific ethnic group designated to the children of chattel slavery.
No, it's not. Not on the U.S. Census.
African. He can never
not
be
on the
an
U.S. Census. Have you seen the designation for African? Have you seen the designation for African on the U.S. Census?
Sir.
Have you seen the designation for?
Sir, on the U.S. Census, African American, no matter how you try to twist it, African American is a Pacific ethnic group. If you Google it right now, it's going to tell you this is a Pacific ethnic group for the children of chattel slavery in America. There is no one, not a Caribbean person, not an African, that can come to America and become an African American. It's impossible. They could become Nigerian American, Congolese American, South African American, but they will never be African American because it is a Pacific ethnic group that belongs to the children of chattel slavery in America.
I disagree with what you just said because I live in the U.S.
It's totally false.
If you are Barack Obama was born by a Kenyan father and a white mother, he is an African American. He's the
Exactly.
first African American president.
And that's what they just said.
So Elon Musk, being from South Africa, if he wants, can be called African American.
Exactly. It's the same way, dude.
My
What is
point
she not
exactly.
understanding? What does she not get about this? Oh, she's going to go Google it.
My point exactly.
She needs
Okay,
to
so
go
guys,
get
I just
that.
want to say,
As a foundational Black American,
excuse me, Carlos,
my
excuse me.
bad. Go
I just
ahead.
want to say this before you guys continue your conversation. This on the census, U.S. Census, it's now based on self-identification. That is the rules of that census. So
I could
technically,
just
anyone
say I'm
can
white.
mark whatever they want. So we
Right.
don't want to use the census as a guide to identity because you can technically mark whatever you want on the census. There's no census taker.
I'm
The
Mexican.
last time a census taker came out to your house to identify your race was in the 1950 census. Since then, you identify. So we can't really use the census as a marker of identity because anybody can put whatever they want.
Right. So
Beautiful.
we're using that logic, right? If he wanted to, he could identify as an African American, just like President
And you can
Barack
identify
Obama.
as white American.
I can identify as Asian.
I
Exactly.
can't do that.
Because it's self-identification.
So
You can put whatever you want on the
none of my descendants can go and fill out a census roll in the near future and put white.
You can put whatever you
Okay.
want on a census. It's self-identification. is my
Anunnaki,
point.
Oh
baby.
man.
I'd put Anunnaki.
I'm saying you can. I'm not saying you will. I'm saying you have the ability to because it's based on self-identification. There is no
Right.
government official that's going to come to your house to verify your race or ethnicity. That does not
It's
exist.
just like how you can choose your own gender now. You can choose anything.
Exactly. Nobody's going to come and say, well, we have to verify. Is he really a Caucasian/white? No, they
Get
don't
him
do
out
that
here.
anymore.
Get him out
They haven't
here.
done that in 70 years. So that's why I don't like to use the census because the census tells you nothing about what someone's physical morphology, in other words, what
All
they
right,
look
so let's
like.
get away from the census. As far
Okay,
as
great. Thank
so
you.
going back to a cultural ethnic group identifying themselves and naming themselves, right? And not allowing anybody else to give them a name for the ethnic group, right? That's pretty much what a foundational Black American is. It's the people at the grassroots naming ourselves and not taking a name from the top down. This is a bottom up type of movement. We're naming ourselves. We're not calling ourselves African American because that can be shoehorned and damn near everybody else can go in and call themselves an African American if they want to, off a technicality.
They can call themselves FBA if they want to too.
No, they can't because
Yes, they
FBA is a
can. What's
lineage.
going to stop them? What's going to stop them from saying it?
Because you have to be born in FBA. You can call yourself whatever you want, but if you're not of the blood and the soil of this country, you're not an FBA. Plain
And that's
and
the
simple.
same thing with African American. See, y'all getting it confused. African American is specific to us. It's the first time we named ourselves. And even though a lot of people didn't agree with it, we still named that, coined that
But that was from the
ourselves.
top down.
Hold on. That's our ethnicity. What we're saying about FBA is y'all can't be the same ethnic group as us with some of y'all Indians, some of y'all Moors, and some of y'all of African descent. We don't have the same lineages if you putting that all together. So that's why you definitely won't have most African Americans claiming that because we're specific to who we are. And no, my man, if you from Africa, you are not African American. You come from a country. You are your country then American. You can't be African American just because you're from Africa.
If they wanted to, they could call themselves that. I hear what you're saying, but I'll
They
let
can
you
be a
have that
mermaid.
one.
They can be a mermaid, bro, if they want to. And until they try to breathe underwater, then you can
Right.
claim whatever you want.
All right. So basically, what you're saying is, right? Are you one of those people that thinks FBA is a group or organization?
Definitely a group because you can't be a lineage when it's three different races of people inside of your lineage, right? One of y'all, half of y'all are Indians, right? We're not the
No.
same people.
When we say lineage, we're talking about people that have a unique and historical culture that goes along with them and their
That's not
family and their
lineage.
lineage, right?
That's not lineage. Lineage is some kind of common ancestral background to someone. We all are descendants of Africa, right? So we have common ancestors. We don't have any common ancestors with anybody who's indigenous to America and don't have any African ancestry. They're not even us.
Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm gonna stick to what I was saying. What I'm saying is this: Foundational Black American is not a group, and it's not an organization. It's not something that you can join. It's something that you're born. You're a descendant of American chattel slavery, also known legally as a black freedman, and your family can be traced to the 1870 census. That's what a foundational Black American is.
What the website describes them as. Like I said again.
What
once
website?
again.
You talking about a website created by foundational Black Americans or created
Yes, but
outside?
I'm talking about the website from the guy who coined FBA.
Okay,
It says y'all are in. Some of y'all have always been here indigenous.
true.
It says some of y'all are black explorers.
Black explorers.
Yeah, you read it, and then the other one say y'all were the rest of y'all came from Africa on slave ships from African descent. So y'all talking about three different groups of people talking about you're the same ethnicity.
That came together and they had a unique and historical experience, right?
But actually we didn't, and that's what we're saying. The people who were already here already had their ethnicity, so they claim, right?
And they had an ethnogenesis, right?
And what is an ethnogenesis?
And ethnogenesis is when one group of people goes somewhere else and they mix with another group of people, creating a whole another ethnic group from the beginning.
Right. So you're telling me that these people who already had their ethnicity in their group, who claim to be 100% indigenous,
right,
have now mixed in with us and made this ethnogenesis.
Right, which is cool. Which is you can say what you can say that you're indigenous or you can say that you're African or whatever, but that still doesn't change the fact of if your family goes back to the beginning of this country, you're a foundational Black American.
Well, it's plenty. Listen, and that's why y'all won't get anybody to ever join this group, because
It's not
I'll
an
never call it
organization.
a lineage.
So let me ask you a question. So if it's an organization, right? If it's an organization, right? How can you join it if it's an organization? If to be a foundational Black American or to be a Black American, like you said, right? And the original Black Americans, right, are the people that don't have immigrant backgrounds and aren't immigrants, right? And are the Black freedmen, right? How can you join or not join to be a Black freedman?
Because if I tell you that I don't believe the way y'all believe, you telling me I'm still FBA?
Because it's not an ideology. It's not something that you can choose not to believe. It's just that.
Well,
It's not an ideology. It's a lineage.
Well, how come then your group of people, right, are telling other people who are African American, whose family's been here that long, to go back to Africa? How come y'all are calling us slave babies and monkeys and all this other stuff?
Calling who? Calling you say us. Who is
a lot of us who consider ourselves African Americans have gotten that from your group. As a matter of fact, you can go on those lives right now and you can hear them talking, saying that.
Okay, but that still doesn't change the fact that your lineage is your lineage and it's not a group.
Well, it has to be a group. That means if I don't believe like you, if I don't believe like you, I'm not part of it.
It's okay. So what I'm saying is this: you're saying you're not a part of it. Like it's something that you can join and just disassociate with whenever you want to. Your lineage is okay. If you don't want to use the term foundational Black American, let's use the legal term. Let's use Black freedman, right?
Indigenous American.
No. Let's use the legal term. Let's use Black freedman. You can. I don't want to use just like I'm not using foundational Black American. I'm gonna use the legal term, the legally recognized term.
The legal term is reductive. It's reductive in
nature. No, it's not.
Again,
because
we're indigenous to this land.
You keep saying it's a group and it's an organization, but how can it be a group or an organization?
It's a lost civilization. It's a lost people.
Y'all argue with one another. You see what I'm saying? Y'all claim y'all FBAs and claim y'all indigenous to America.
That's called a human trait. Humans argue.
Claim y'all have no.
All right, so let me ask you this: Where's your family from? Can you trace? Are you a descendant of slavery in America? Can you trace your family back to 1876?
I am a descendant of Africans that came from Africa. That's where my ancestry comes from.
But are you a Black freedman? Are you descendant from the people that were enslaved in America?
My ancestors come from
Yes or no? Was your family enslaved in the country?
I'm talking to Black.
Enslaved in this country?
Both of y'all holding a question with me, so I'm answering both of y'all questions. You asked a question, Black. My ancestors come from West and Central Africa.
Okay, and so do mine. and they were still enslaved, and I'm still a descendant of American chattel slavery, also known as black freedmen.
How was they enslaved?
The problem with you,
How were
Joe,
they
is you
enslaved?
think
Were
your
they enslaved?
ancestors, you think all your ancestors
You
came
see
here
what I'm saying?
400
Like
years
both of y'all
ago.
want to jump
No,
in.
Your
not
So
all.
which one?
ancestors
No,
been
I've
here
done
for
Y'all want to hold a
thousands
my
of
all
conversation
of
years.
my
with me?
family, as far as I know.
So which one y'all want to hold a conversation with me? Because I'm not
You
finna answer
think your
both of y'all.
family, your generations, they've been coming here for thousands of years. People from West
All right,
Africa
so
been coming
cool.
here
I
for
like that.
thousands
So
of
let's
years.
do this. Let's do this right now. I like sources. I don't like belief systems and things like that. So let's hold a conversation. Let's do sources there. So what source do you have that's a primary historically or scientifically that proves this? Let's go through it right now.
Wait, Joe, can you admit that
No, ain't no
the
way, Joe.
narrative has
Ain't no
been
way, Joe.
reduced?
Ain't no way, Joe. So what source you want to go through?
Victor Von Hagen, he was a Olmec
All right, let's pull it
researcher
up.
out of the Mesoamericas.
Well, we not hold
He
up, bro.
stated several times that the
hold
Olmec.
up, bro. So now we're in Mesoamerica. How can y'all say y'all from Mesoamerica? Y'all can't even prove y'all from
The
Southeast
Olmecs
America.
were all over the Central South Americas, and there's evidence that they reached North America. Olmecs
Olmecs
haplogroup. Olmecs
haplogroup.
stick in North America. Let's stick in North America, bro. Right? Because Yeah, this is where the y'all say Olmecs y'all were in North from. America too.
And you see what I'm saying, Skywalker?
But we're
You see
talking
what I'm
about the
saying, Sky?
Southeast over here, right? We've Y'all, been in the I see Americas what for you're saying, bro. thousands of years.
Listen,
but you don't have any proof of that. And those people down The there are Olmecs. not definitely like you because they're still there and they still
Show
They
that.
left
Show
they
that.
left stone carvings of their
Show
faces.
that, bro.
And they
Don't
didn't
just
look
say it.
like you,
Show
bro.
it.
Victor Von Hagen,
Show
he
it.
said that these Olmec headdresses actually So were somebody African war wrote a helmets. book. They
Show
weren't indigenous to the
it.
Mesoamericas. So somebody
Show it,
wrote a
bro.
book, right? And automatically you just leech yourself onto those people. No, he's When an we, archaeologist. He came from the Mesoamerican but Institute aren't of y'all from the Archaeology. South in North America? Aren't y'all from the Southeast in North
That's what I'm
America?
saying. They
That's what
can't
you got
never
to
stay on
understand, that
topic.
this Rockefeller history that you guys have been
Oh
taught
my
reduced
goodness,
history.
bro.
Now there you go, Rockefeller
That's what I'm
history.
saying. But like they always got some conspiracy nonsense, bro. That's why I
All
can't
right,
take these
so
people serious.
y'all done got your answer for that. So going back to what I was saying. So are you or are you not a black freedman? Are you not descendant of the black freedmen in America? Yes or
I'm
no?
an African American. My
So
ancestors. I'm an
so what?
African American. I'm an
So
African
what?
American.
So but are you? No, don't. I'm not asking you
That
that.
ain't
I'm
no, ain't
asking
no,
you a
no.
specific
That's
question.
my ethnic group. That's my ethnic group. I'm an African American. That's your answer.
Yep,
But
so
do you
am I.
descend directly from the enslavement?
Do you know the history of African Americans?
Yes, I do. I'm a
Yeah, we've
foundational
been here
black
All
for
right, then.
American.
So
I can
why,
thousands
so
of
trace my
why
years.
will
family
you,
back
so
through
why will you,
centuries.
so why will you ask that question if you
Because
know
we're
the history of
indigenous to
that?
this land. You're not understanding.
We're not
We've been here.
indigenous to this land.
We've
No,
been
we're
here
not.
past 400 years.
No, we haven't.
And you
No,
can
we
look at the
haven't.
definition of what African American means. Right. Just look
Oh
up the
my!
definition
I
of
ain't
it.
gonna lie to you, man. I ain't came here to play semantics with y'all. I just
I don't
asked a
play
simple
semantic
question.
needs, bro. I do sources. I gave you an answer. I'm
He
African
think
American.
he
If you know
thinks
the
Bro,
history
most
of
I asked you a
African
Africans
simple
have been
Americans,
here for
question.
300,000
if you
years,
know,
So
and
you're
the
an
black
hold up,
African
people,
American,
black
right?
people have never met
Black. I'm not trying to
Mexicans.
talk to you, Black. You think you indigenous to America?
You
Let me hold a
think
conversation with
black people
Carlos.
have never met
Can I hold a
Mexicans until the
conversation
white
with
man
Carlos?
introduced this.
Can I hold a conversation with Carlos?
You have to
Thank you.
open your box,
Can I
your
hold a?
mind.
I ain't opening nothing. So Carlos, if you know the history of African Americans, you already
That's
know
the
your answer to
problem.
it.
All right.
The
So
history of Africa,
so that's
black
basically
people in
you
America
saying
have
that
been
you are a
reduced.
black freedman, right? You can trace your family back to the 1870 census, right?
I could trace my lineage back to the 1700s.
Okay, I can
And
too,
black
but I'm
freedman
just
is not a
asking you.
legal
You
term.
can trace
And
your
black,
family back to the 1870 census, right?
I
but
could
listen,
trace my
black
lineage back to the 1700s.
and black freedman is not a legal term anymore. That's been null and void by being replaced by African American. What do you mean null and void? They used it's been replaced by African American. Doesn't matter. It's still a
Black
term that was
freedmen is a
referred
legal
to.
term that they still use today. That's why they still have the
We're
Black
recalling
Freedmen's
history.
Bureau.
No, they don't. Most of history has been
So why do they
erased,
still
bro.
have the black? Why do they still have the Freedmen's Bureau
Only
phone?
people that are called freedmen are those that are part of the Native American tribes that are freedmen.
I'm
That's
talking
who are
about
called
black
freedmen today.
freedmen.
The people that are called freedmen today are those people that are part of those tribes.
That's
I'm
right.
who are
talking about
freedmen.
black freedmen.
You right on that,
Yeah,
Joe. You right.
I'm
we
talking
are
about
not
the
called
people
each
who.
other. We are not called that in today's terms, bro.
I'm talking about
call them.
black freedmen are a legally
We are
recognized
not
protected class in the
called
United
that.
States of
We are
America.
not called that in modern day terms.
I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying legally as
So
a
stop saying
using
it.
it
We are
using it
African
as a
American.
reference point.
He asked you
Ain't no
if
reference
he
point.
asked you if you were descended from a black
black freedman.
And I told him I'm African American.
No, what you
Simple.
said is we don't use that
What's
term
to make it so
anymore.
hard about that? That I'm African American. There go your answer.
Was
All
one
right,
of
so
your
you saying
ancestors considered to be a black freedman? Was one of your ancestors considered to be a black freedman at any point in time?
Do you know about when slavery ended?
Why can't you just
slavery
say
ended in
yes? Why
1865?
is
Do
that
you know
so
when?
hard
All
to say
right, then.
yes?
So why would y'all answer a question that y'all already know?
Well, Carlos is going to get to that.
Well, Carlos already know that when I told him I was African American. What's the definition of African American?
Again, bro, you're avoiding the question. It's not even that
That's
hard,
not
bro.
avoiding the question.
Hey, can
Look
can
at the
I say
definition
He's
of
something
trying
real
to
African
quick?
get you to
American.
understand. We've been here for thousands
Ain't
of
no
years.
understanding, man. Y'all the one that want to play word games.
I think we could handle this real quick. So does for Carlos and Black, whatever his name is, what's his name? Black Energy Force. Does the
Like energy
14th
force.
Amendment? Does the 14th Amendment apply to you?
No, we're indigenous. We've been here for thousands of years.
So the 14th Amendment, you didn't, your people didn't fight for the 14th Amendment.
Who?
Hello?
Foundation of Black Americans?
I'm asking Carlos and Black Energy Force, did your lineage, ancestry fight for the 14th Amendment to be ratified?
Yes.
Yeah, that don't got nothing to do with me. We've been
All
here
right. Well, thank you, Black Energy Force, because you're if you are claiming to be indigenous, then you are right. That has nothing to do
they
with you.
swindled those laws. Those laws, they basically they held
You
those
can't hold
people
a serious
hostage.
conversation with him.
Black Energy Force is correct, because if he's an indigenous person, he's not black and he's not of African American descent. Because the indigenous people,
We're the
the indigenous
Aborigines on every
people,
continent.
the indigenous. Well, I don't want to get into that because that's
Australia,
like
Papua New
psychosis.
Guinea,
But
North America would be no
You
different.
have no genetic ties to those people, so I don't know what
but
you
yeah,
think
well,
them.
yeah, the Indian people weren't allowed to be citizens until the 20s. But for Carlos, are you saying that you're indigenous?
What?
Yeah, I got indigenous people in my family.
Okay. Do you have African descent?
Yes.
Okay. Are you? So you're Afro-Indigenous?
I'm a foundational Black American. It's a mixture, and a foundational Black American is only
So
acknowledging my
that's a
indigenous.
no. That's a
It's,
no.
it's,
You're not Afro-Indigenous.
His
All you gotta say is no.
bloodline has been here before Columbus.
how am I not how am
So
I not indigenous
So you
if I
got
can trace my
ties to
family
a
back?
tribe. So you got tied to a tribe. You know the culture. You know the history.
Yeah,
You
of
part.
course.
You go to their powwows and all of that. I ain't talking to you, Black. I know you are pretending. So don't hold a conversation with me. I'm
No,
talking to Carlos.
I'm not a pretender. I'm not one of those people that go out there and try to say, "Oh, I'm this, that, and the third." But
I
I
just
well,
I
am
was talking. I
this
was
is
aware.
talking to
the
Black.
issue with
I was talking to
FBA.
Black.
This is the issue with FBA. Y'all don't know what a lineage is, because a lineage is your direct descent. And if you're saying that you have indigenous and African DNA, but you're not Afro-Indigenous, you're a foundation Black American, unless you're biracial, you're not African and indigenous. That's two different people groups.
No, Afro people of today are the indigenous people. They've been here for
I'm
thousands
referring
of
to
years.
Carlos,
Yeah, bro,
Black.
you
I
just need to
know.
be
I already
quiet,
know what
bro.
type of time
Hang
you on.
on.
You in
Why they can't see
psychosis.
me?
I don't think I can help you, Black Energy Force. You literally
Hang
think
on
you're
for
an
a
Indian.
minute.
Line doesn't lie, right? You can trace
We
back
just
our
trying to,
ancestral lineage to the old
Carlos,
man.
we're just trying to make sense out of what y'all claim to be. And I think the problem with a lot of us, what we have is y'all also trying to cling on to us, but by claiming us to be that same thing when we're telling you we're not.
Sky Walter, what do you guys stand for?
I'm African American.
Well, what do you stand for? Like, what's your mission? Your mission?
I don't have a mission. My mission is to not have my ancestors' history erased, their culture erased, everything that they created over here. We don't want it touched by someone trying to remix it or diddy mix it. It is what it is. We're of African descent, and our ancestors that created this, we're just an extension of that. It's not Indian. It's not none of that other
So
stuff.
basically, to preserve the mainstream story of the transatlantic slave trade,
Not a
and
mainstream
preserve
story,
the
but the
That's
true
the
story.
issue with y'all Negroes. Y'all start denying the transatlantic slave trade. Like, y'all are literally disrespectful and insane.
No, it's just looking at the truth, right? Looking at the logistics
What's
of
the
it,
truth?
looking at the
It's
economy
super
of it,
documented.
truth.
and then we're
Let's
awakening
do
to the true
that.
history, right?
They don't want to do that though. Red. They don't want to do that though. So here's the thing
They don't
about
want
it.
to look at the truth.
The
You got to look
transatlantic
at
slave trade is one of the
reclassification.
most documented events in history. It's documented in the Americas, it's documented in Africa, and it's documented in the European countries.
It's
So
even
how
documented in
is it?
Asia.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, how can y'all say it never existed when it's documented in every area that was involved?
Man, we don't know who put them shits in them damn books.
Man, we don't know who got it. We don't know
I
damn
ain't trying to hear all that, bro.
Man,
We
You
don't
got to
know
understand
that.
that
we
the
don't know that.
transatlantic
We
slave
do
trade,
know that.
it wasn't as prevalent as
How
you
the hell we
guys are
don't?
led to
We
believe.
do know that.
You
We
be
know
dead.
that
Y'all don't
exactly,
You
read.
be an
sir.
ancestor too if you know that.
Y'all
Sir,
don't.
we
Y'all
know
don't.
these
So let
things
Carlos.
exactly. We have the
So Carlos.
documentation, sir.
Hello. So Red, watch this. So Carlos, based off the information and based off the research you have done, just give me a breakdown what you think took place during the transatlantic slave trade. Whether you believe it happened or not. What do you know about the transatlantic slave trade from the beginning to the end? Like the starting point, the kingdoms that was involved, the Europeans that was involved, the Middle Passage, stuff like that. Give me the name of captains. Give me a name of ships or anything like that. Like what you believe happened, what didn't happen. Like what? Give me something. Like what have you researched?
Tell the truth, this is Carlos' brother, right? This is Carlos' oldest brother, right? So I'm hearing everything you saying, and then I'm trying to see what do a name of ship and all that.
No,
People
bro.
put names in books.
No. I'm asking.
It don't
Y'all
make
don't
no
believe in
sense
transatlantic
these
slave
days,
trade.
man.
So
All that
give
shit
me.
is old.
Well, let me
These
give you an
concept,
example.
this
Let
shit
me
don't
no,
build
let me
up
give you an
on
example.
fishery, man.
No, let me give you an example. So the
Hold on,
transatlantic
Joe.
slave
Let him
trade.
talk. Let him
No,
talk. That's his older
hold
brother.
up, Black. No, because
Yeah, these
that's not
crack got
what I
this
asked.
shit built up for
No, I
centuries to
asked a
take care of their
question.
families,
You
Right.
don't want to
families,
answer.
generations
You
after
don't want to answer
generation
the
after
question.
generation after generation.
So you don't
Them
know.
Right.
crackers been
So
up
you
on their
don't know.
game down in the
Gotcha.
1800s.
So you don't
Right.
know. So the transatlantic slave trade, some of the
He
starting
won't
points,
even
right?
let him talk.
So yeah, no, because you don't want to answer the question. So when you talk about the
And but
transatlantic
I
slave
don't,
trade,
man. What the?
European.
Okay, what the
So
f
hold up,
is
bro.
me
Hold up.
asking
He
you a
wants to
question
Just
name a
gonna
say you
fix
boat
something?
don't
from the
know.
It's
1600s.
not gonna
Just
fix
say
nothing.
just
I
say you
just
He
don't
don't
said,
know. So
know. So
what's the
you,
so
boat's
when the
I'm
name?
telling you, I don't
Europeans,
know
so
because it's not
gotcha.
Carlos. I don't
No,
be
You
just
up
say
on
yeah,
all
don't
this
just say
shit,
know
man.
because it's
you
not
don't know.
real.
Just say you don't know. So when the
I
Europeans
just say
came
I
on the
don't
coast.
know.
All right, so
Nobody
cool. So
knows
let
no
me
boats,
talk. You don't
man.
know,
Like,
so let me
you
talk.
want
So
a
when the
nigga to
Europeans
list
came on the
a
coast of
captain of
West
the ship?
Africa, hello, Black, because you can't educate me either. So when the Europeans came on the coast of West Africa in the mid 1400s, around about the 1440s, 1450s, they start doing trade with kingdoms like the Kingdom of Congo, the Kingdom of Benin, as
We
late as
don't
the
know that. Them crackers might put
1480s.
that shit in the
Hold on,
book
I'm not
for us to
talking to you.
believe
You
that
Why
have
shit
you
do
have
was
you
not
there.
keep
read.
saying we
You
don't
have
know?
not. You have
We
not. You don't
know.
know nothing.
I'm
So
saying
when you
we
talk,
don't know the truth.
you have
Y'all just know
Yeah,
just
what's
say
so
gonna
he
be
We
in
got
the
know the
information.
secret.
truth.
right,
Yeah, we know the truth.
right,
He believe
right.
everything
Gotcha,
he read.
Yeah, I'm
gotcha.
not going for shit I
You
read
go
in the damn book
you gonna
unless I've been
believe
there.
Right.
So
you
So
gonna
where
that,
you
and
believe
get?
that's
some
the
So
white
where's
issue.
you
people
That
about
getting
what
your
they done.
goddamn information
and
from?
that's the
He
issue.
Oh
gonna believe
Y'all
the
man,
insight
enemy
into
about what they
lecture.
done
Where
told
you
us
getting
about
your
our history.
information from if you don't believe
man.
what's in the book?
Okay, my
That's what
information
I'm
on what
saying.
I
That's
see
He
and then what
getting
I
his
know that's going
information
on
from the
right now,
people
right
who
now.
did all the
so
Man,
conquering
you
in the
Man, the
that's
1600s.
world that
fine.
we
okay.
live in, man, that shit already been planned.
Got you.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
The translation slave trade never happened because I have never studied. That's basically your
No, the
answer.
problem
You
is
never
you're getting all
studied. You
your
have not read
academic
nothing about
information
it. So how can you say what happened,
from
what
the
didn't
people who
happen? You have
committed
not
these
even read on it.
atrocities. It's like
Okay.
trying to get
So okay.
your
So
research
good,
about
good,
Hitler, about the
good. I
Holocaust. You're
love that
getting it from
standpoint.
Hitler.
Hold on, brother. I love that standpoint. Let's not trust anything the white T man says. So you were always in America. Where's the
Understand the
evidence?
framework they put it under. That's not
So
saying don't
you're not
trust it.
listening. I hate when people don't
And look at
listen.
it from a hypocritical eye.
No. I
No,
don't
brother,
have to
you
look
want
at
to
it
talk
from
us to
anyway.
death.
I
You
look
gotta
at it
understand
from the what can be proven.
you gotta understand
I
the
look at it from what can be proven. Are you prepared to prove what you say?
yeah,
Are
that's
you prepared to prove what are you prepared to prove what you say? Brother, are you prepared to prove what you say?
yeah.
Because we can do
Man,
this right now.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
man,
like the
no,
European
man, listen here,
perspective of
man.
history was
Red, they
ridding
can't
Listen
was
here,
stand in the
ridding
man.
United
The
Africa.
shit
States.
that we
Red,
talking about now, I still ain't talking about nothing. Just like
Red,
how
they
Donald
can't
Trump,
stand in the
Brother,
United States. They can't stand in the United States. They gotta go all the way to Mexico. They gotta go all the way to South America. They can't even prove
absolutely.
how they did it to the southeastern part of the United States, but they want to go all
yeah,
the way
why
to
y'all keep trying to
Mexico.
put me on mute for? Y'all to stop doing that lame ass shit. Y'all
I'm
talking.
not a
I
mob.
ain't putting none of
I'm not a
y'all on mute.
mob. I'm not a
Yeah,
mob,
So
bro.
y'all,
Like, what are you
y'all
talking
all
about?
talking at the same time. Nobody can hear y'all
yeah,
Yeah,
talking.
nobody
yeah.
can hear.
Knowing that I'm a
But
new uncomer. So
Hey,
therefore
hey,
y'all
hold
better
on,
let me talk. I'm not
Joe.
might be
Okay,
hold
talking too
on,
damn
please.
long.
Oh, hey,
I'm
Joe, Africa,
confused.
Black, hold on, because Carlos wants to speak. So, Carlos, do you have any information
Okay,
to
see
prove
that?
that black people were always in America?
Okay, stop. See that? I know you're not listening what I'm saying because I keep telling you I'm not Carlos. I'm Carlos' oldest brother.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
nigga,
So what's your
listen,
name, bro?
Carlos,
So
you
what's
know
your
the
name?
profile.
How
What's
long
your
I been
name,
saying
bro?
that?
So, do
What's
you
your name?
have information, regardless of who you really are? Do you have information to corroborate that black people have always been in America and not related
Because,
to Africans?
right.
Do
So
you
I
have
could
that
see
information?
because I could go for days proving how African was in the United States during the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah,
I could
Victor
name
Von Hagen.
documents
Again,
on.
they've
Hold
shown
up, bro.
that he's been here
I
for
could talk about
thousands.
the different
We're talking to
rebellions. I could talk
Carlos
about the
right
different.
now. We'll get to you in a
Right.
second.
Yeah, right, Black. So I could name the different rebellions that took place in the United States during slavery. I can name
Man,
individuals that
I'm
were
gonna push
listed.
y'all ass on mute, cause y'all might keep putting me on
Oh my
motherfucking
goodness,
mute.
bro. Oh
So
my
can
goodness,
you okay? So
bro.
black, Carlos' older brother couldn't meet the challenge.
It's not no challenge to me. Y'all can.
Carlos' older brother could not meet the challenge. Can you, Black Energy?
Yeah, easy. There's been a lot of archaeologists that have been shunned from the community because of their what they call quote unquote fringe theories about the true nature of history.
Yeah, shit was they want.
Come on, Carlos' older brother. Act like his older brother.
He just want to crash out because you don't got no information.
So we can start by this archaeological site. We can start by naming the site, so we can pull up the site. I'll pull it up, and we can examine the site and the archaeologists.
We're not talking to you, Carlos. You have no answer, so we're talking to Black. You already said you don't know. You haven't.
You put me on mute because the truth.
You keep putting you on mute because you ain't got nothing to say.
How do I not got?
You don't, bro. You say you don't know nothing about transatlantic slave trade, so we're going to Black.
Oh, I did not say I don't.
Yeah. What we
I'm
have to
trying to see.
understand is the perspective of the transatlantic
I
slave trade
keep
has been
muting you
greatly
because we
exaggerated.
just hold on. Everybody, be quiet. Hold on. Carlos, we just asked you what do you know about the transatlantic slave trade, and you didn't say nothing. So now we're going on to Black Energy. Why do you want to talk now?
I did not say I didn't say that. I said what I gotta do.
We on the Black Energy, bro. Black Energy, go ahead. Carlos, just chill, just breathe. Black Energy, go ahead.
But yeah, the narrative of the true nature of history has been greatly reduced. Right? We got a whitewashed.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Say that
European-
again because he had so much background
The
noise. I didn't hear
narrative
what you
of
said.
the true nature of reality and really our history has been greatly reduced under a European framework.
Word
Right?
salad.
So when you had
Word salad. Where's
archaeologists
the evidence?
when you had archaeologists like Victor von Hagen who would bring this sort of evidence that went against the narrative that they were painting, the Rockefellers were painting, and Andrew Carnegie, McGraw-Hill, these people who were trying to basically stage the world in a certain.
Wait, hold on, Red. Listen, I just want to ask this question, right? What is the reason? What would be the benefit of hiding Black Americans' true identity?
The same benefit that they have for unaliving those scientists because they're working on energy devices that can help free humanity.
What you should be asking him.
The same reason they unalive scientists every day, bro.
Hold up, Black. Since that didn't take place, right, with the transatlantic slave trade, that never took place, right? So what we need to ask Black, since that didn't take place, give us the history that actually.
I said it
took
wasn't. It wasn't as prevalent as.
No. Just tell us what happened. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, like basically the Afro Americans that you see today, they were already here. They've been coming here for thousands of years. The world was connected.
Time out. Mind you, Afro American means African American because Afro means African. It's short for African.
Yeah, what you would call Afro American, the people that you
Black,
see
that's not what
today
I asked you. Black,
in Black communities that grow afros.
Black. We established. What I'm asking you, what is the history? Like, tell us.
Joe, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Black Americans have already been here. They've been coming here for thousands of years.
And Americans have
Where
been going
did
to
they
Africa
come
for thousands
from?
of years. People have been coming here from Asia.
Black,
People have been coming
understand.
here from the Polynesian
Where
islands.
did Black Americans come from, though?
That's what I'm saying. We've been here.
But you said they've
years.
been coming here for thousands of years.
And Americans have been going to Africa.
No. Did not
And
say that's not what you
Asians have
said.
been coming to America.
Brother,
Americans
that's
have been
not
going to
what
Asia.
you said. You
don't
said
have nothing,
Black
bro. He
Americans
must not
have
have
been
you,
in
man.
America and they've been coming here for thousands of years. Where did they come from?
All over the globe. Australia.
goodness,
People have
bro.
been coming.
He'll
Listen,
wait till the
do you
stage
know why
speak,
there's
man.
Afro
Can we
people
talk
in
about-
Black
can we-
Australia?
He making up
can't
stuff as he
fight-
goes.
The world was
we
connected
can't.
before.
One second. We cannot fight YT supremacy with Negroes that don't even know who the hell they are. Let's do this. Let's all take DNA tests. What's your name? Black Energy. Could you
DNA
please
tests are
explain to
inherently
me?
false because they compare it to the people
Okay,
of
hold
today,
on.
not the
You said
populations that
DNA tests
existed
were
tens of
false.
thousands of years
Okay,
ago.
one second. Black Energies. Do you believe in paternity tests for DNA?
I don't believe in DNA tests because they're inherently false. They're comparing it to the
Okay,
people.
so do you
like when
know?
do a
So you don't believe in
23andMe
forensic tests? You don't
like
believe
when
in forensic
when you
tests
do a
either?
23andMe, they're not comparing it
Wait,
to
hold
older
on.
populations.
Before we get to
They don't even- they've never
23andMe,
even found
do
the
you
full
believe in
omic bomb.
forensic DNA tests?
Not
You
in the
just
way,
went over
not
smart
what they,
people,
not
bro.
how they manipulate the data.
Listen to
No,
them.
like the assumption that they
Okay.
make from that DNA is not right because
what's
they're
wrong?
comparing it to.
Somehow DNA is fake because if you take a DNA test, it will tell you that you have African ancestry. That's
No,
when
they compare.
you know how
They
many
compare it
black
to the
men.
populations of today. and what they
Everybody got
consider
African
today,
ancestry.
not the
Carlos, you
populations
had
of
your
10,000
chance.
years
That's
ago.
foolish. Stop it.
They don't even have.
So
They've never even found a full omic
Black
skeleton.
Energy. My
Can I chip in
only question
something,
for you,
guys? Can I chip
before
in
you chip in,
something?
let me
Right?
finish. Oh,
Okay.
hold on. Before you chip in, let me just say this. Could you please logically and coherently explain to me how Ancestry.com has a reference panel of people that have documented proof that they've been in Nigeria, modern day Nigeria, for the last 500 years? And if you take a DNA test, somehow your DNA will go to that reference panel and those people have been living there for 500 years.
It's
Please
very
explain that to me
simple.
in a
It's very
logical,
simple.
coherent way.
It's very simple. They're comparing it to the populations of Nigeria today, not the populations of America tens of thousands of years ago.
Did you hear what I just said?
Nigeria. It's again. I'm telling you why the
Brother,
DNA tests
I'm telling you, bro, you wasting your time, bro.
are literally
Dude.
false.
That does
Wait, you're
not
not answering my
explain
question.
I just
why
explained it to
current
you.
day African Americans are matching current day Nigerians.
Because they're
Right,
comparing
because
it.
you would agree that
They're
those
comparing it to
Black
the
Energy
people
Force,
of today, not the people of tens of
right? The
thousands of
people
years
of
ago.
today, where have they been living? Hold on,
That's
the
what I'm
people of today,
telling you.
where have they been living? Where have they been living at for the last 500 years?
We've been in the Americas for thousands of years.
Black Energy,
And
you're not
they've
answering
been
my
in
question. Do you
Africa.
hear me?
Actually, we haven't
Do
been
you?
here for thousands.
Hold on, Black Energy. Do you understand my question? I said the people on that reference panel have documented proof that they've been in Nigeria for 500 years. Why is your DNA matching to them? Explain that in a logical, coherent way.
People ain't got no. They don't have a continuous history. Let's not try to make it seem like
Bro,
they
you're
do.
not answering the damn question. What's wrong with you niggas? Could you answer the
Yeah, I'm
question?
telling you. Anti-intellectual, bro. We talked to some. They probably haven't even graduated high school, bro. To be real with you, not being fun. I'm being dead serious. Some of these cats haven't even graduated high school. Like for real.
This is crazy. I'm asking Joe. Do you understand my question, Joe? I'm asking
I
them
understand
for the last
it.
500 years.
Can I
For the
chip in
last
something
500
real
years, they
quick?
have documented. Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead,
chip in
Lincoln.
something?
Because damn, they can't answer
Like
a simple
he has to
question.
understand that
Yeah.
Nigeria
Let me.
Nigeria wasn't even a
I
country
live.
until 1914.
Yeah.
See how dumb he
Oh
is?
my goodness,
These
my nigga.
people
Now
No,
you're just
that's
saying
false.
anything.
That's
Because
false.
that's not what we asked. That's not what
First
we
of
asked.
all, okay. I live in Washington, D.C. I would say if anybody's living in the U.S., take your time. Come on down here. There's a Museum of African History that's fully funded 100% by Black people. They had to go all the way down to Timbuktu when all, took their time, fully funded. There's no white involved. And I took my time. It was a 5-floor building from the top to the bottom. We have skulls, we have writings, we have pictures, we have documentation of different places, whatever happened with Black America, the people in the history books. You could see every single thing. There is none archaeological evidence saying that Blacks were in the U.S.
There's a lot. It's been
thousands of
suppressed. Like
years.
Victor Von Hagen, he was enthusiastic about this. There's a lot of scientists, even on Joe Rogan, who are making these connections.
Thank you
right?
for
These
your
are
input. Now,
PhDs.
I cannot let Carlos and Black Energy, I cannot let y'all escape the
Joe
question because y'all
Rogan
keep
did not
just
mention.
going against the question.
I just
Joe
told you.
Rogan
Actually.
No,
did
you
not.
just said Nigeria was created in.
I'm sorry.
Because you just said Nigeria was created in 1946. That has nothing to do with what I just
1914.
said.
Hey, hold on.
That has
For a second,
nothing
though.
to do
I'm
with what I
showing
just
you how
said.
they're not
Literally
comparing.
nothing.
They're comparing
Joe
it to
Rogan.
the populations
Sir,
of today,
that
not
had
of tens of
nothing to do
thousands.
with
Yeah,
what I
go,
just
go ahead and
said.
ask me the question, man.
They've
Y'all
never
doing
even
too much
found
talking.
it
What else
on
you
that
Carlos,
got for
domain.
me, man?
the simple question, 2 + 2 is 4. Listen, the people in Nigeria, they have a reference panel. Ancestry.com took a reference panel, and they have documented proof that lineage of people living in Nigeria at the time where they took the reference panel have been living there for 500 years. Why, when your Black ass takes a DNA test, does your DNA match to that reference panel? Don't say that Nigeria was made in 19 whatever. Answer that specific question.
I'm telling you right now. Listen to me. Please listen hard. Because I've been saying this over and over again. It's because you're lacking the comprehension to understand what I'm saying. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, ask a question about what I'm saying. Don't just keep repeating your question. I'm saying very clearly,
You got
the
a question?
DNA tests are
Why the hell ain't none of y'all no females?
Carlos, the DNA tests are inherently false because the reference
Nigga, you're not
panel.
answering my question. What? Yo, this is
I'm about
crazy.
to
I'm
show
done.
you. I'm
I
about
give
to
up.
show
You're
you.
not.
Y'all can't be fucking like
This
y'all
is so
can't like y'all
this is so
arguing.
This is crazy.
anti-intellectual at this point. It's
This is
so
crazy.
anti-intellectual, dude. I work in the medical field. DNA panels, DNA evidence
Is you
go
fucking
way
somebody else's
back.
job? If you
Yeah.
fucking a bitch off your medical
Like if you
field.
like they just found
Yeah,
out in
there's no
2024
way. There's
that
no way. The same
civilization
reason.
was
If
three
the same
times as
reason.
The
long as the
assembly of the
If
girl
you
bouncing her
were
ass up and down.
their
Let's
the
talk
framework
about
same
that.
of
reason, if
history
you
is
were to come
completely
to my
wrong. It's
home
completely
and
false.
commit a crime, I can pick up on
They've
your
never
sweat
even
or
found an
whatever and
Olmec.
trace
They've
it
never
to
even
you.
found an Olmec
Hey,
skeleton. They've never found an Olmec
Hey,
tomb,
hey, wait, wait,
Olmec
wait,
burial
wait,
site,
wait.
Olmec grave
So
sites. They just
you have
found
yet
partial
to
bones in
say,
caves.
you have
They've
yet
not,
to answer the question that's being asked.
They in Savannah.
Hey,
again, I
hey,
just told you
Carlos,
the
you have,
frame
hey,
of
Carlos,
reference
older
is
brother.
wrong.
Hey, put
Let me
Carlos on
honestly
mute, man. That
say
man
you
got
have
no
Oh,
respect.
shit, you
nothing.
know me, my nigga?
No, no,
Appreciate it,
no. Yeah,
boy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
Appreciate
have
that shout out, boy.
nothing.
What you saying, my
No,
nigga? Shit.
you,
I'm in this bitch. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's
But what, how
yeah,
old
you
is
were
this
in
guy?
this bitch. I can't take it anymore. You have nothing to contribute to this conversation but loudness. So the question remains. Damn, you see how silent it is now? There is no. The question still remains: why are current day African Americans comparing to current day Nigerians?
Again,
Don't
I
say
just
DNA is
told
fake
you
because
the
that's not
world is
answering the question.
connected. The world was
The,
connected. Africans have been going to America. Americans have been going to Africa since the beginning of time. Homo sapiens
okay,
have been around
so,
for
but that's
300,000
it.
years. You
Okay,
think
good,
that the
good,
white
good,
man was the
good.
only one who connected the world
So
400
okay,
years
so
ago?
with that
There's
said, right?
250,000
Where's
years
the
missing that you're thinking that
evidence
we were
of?
separate.
So I asked this on every panel. Where are the nigger bones?
Everywhere. Literally.
Go.
They're
So,
not
Everywhere.
Here we
anywhere.
go.
and
They're
how did we
not
get?
Look
How
at
did
anywhere.
we travel
look at
over here
Australia. Look at Papua New
for
Guinea. Look at
thousands of
all these
There,
years?
aboriginal
we
places.
travel exactly. This is the point. If we were over here thousands of years,
Right.
why? Where is the archaeological site proving that black people have been here
All over
thousands
the
of years?
Olmecs again. The
And,
Get
Olmecs.
somebody else in
Olmec
there.
They've
is not
never
bro, the
an
Olmecs
they've
are
There's
archaeological
left the
site.
nowhere.
world.
First of
There's
all,
nowhere.
Shut
If
first
they
of
were
all
all,
the way the
here,
fuck
they would be
up.
in the African American Museum right now. That's not a
So
bro,
fact.
the Olmecs are in Mexico. They're not even
wait
in
a
the
minute,
United
but
They
the
States.
can't.
What are
They
you
can't
talking
Olmecs.
stay.
about?
I
Wait a
told you they
minute, wait
can't.
a
They
minute. The
can't stay. They
Olmec
can't stay in the
statues
United
is not
States.
an archaeological find with bones.
And also
Where are the?
all those
What's the
founded
name?
buildings. Those
Shut
founded
all the
buildings are
way the
ours.
fuck up, you dumb cocksucker.
Thank you. But
So where is the archaeological site? The name of it, so we can put. I would really love to stop talking to you and put something on the screen, but you're not helping me. I want to pull up a site, the Mastodon site, the Lucia site, the Naya site, the Arlington Springs site, the Kennewick Man site. Archaeological finds have sites. They're named. They have scientists that were, archaeologists that were behind them. So the next words out of your mouth when I ask what site proves that black people were here thousands of years should be a name of a scientific site.
Red, I just want him to
It's
stay
very
in the
simple.
southeast. I just
What
want him.
is the name of the site?
All the historic sites in every major city, they have these neoclassical buildings.
What is the
They all
name
say
of a
they all
site?
say that they were, again, I'm showing you. Every major city has a historical, literal
Not what I asked.
neoclassical building
No, asking for
that they
a
were
site
founded.
that proves
Those
that
are our
black
But
people.
Black Energy, I don't know if you know this, but you're not answering the
those
question.
are
and he haven't answered
our
not one
Where
archaeological
question that
is
we
buildings.
need
the
on this panel.
archaeological
You
site?
have to understand, science is trying to suppress this portion of history, which is
Bro,
why
can
their
we,
scientists come
we need
unalived
somebody else up here, man, because this dude have no
from
scholarship
the community.
whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah, it's time to move on from him.
This stuff is
Yeah, we
hidden
don't
in
have no
plain sight.
scholarship. Like, he's just wasting our time.
And Tony,
Bro,
Lucia
I
is
can't
not
believe, like, this is insane. I'm asking this Negro, how does your DNA go back to this reference panel of people that's been living in Nigeria for the last 500 years, and his answer is DNA is fake. What?
Go down. So the thing is, I like to systematically go down each avenue with them, but the thing is, the outcome will everything will be a fake and a lie. So according to them, we'll say DNA. DNA is a lie. We were going back and forth. Nigeria was created in 1942 or whatever. So DNA, we can't trust DNA. Goddamn. What about archaeology? Oh no, they suppress it. That's why you're never gonna find it. What about the anthropology? What language did we speak? They stole it all from us and they hid it. God, so we can't prove you through anthropology. We can't prove you through archaeology. We can't trust the fucking DNA. Well, what about Malcolm X first-hand account? Malcolm X said he himself that he was an African. Oh no, he was indoctrinated. Oh no, and then he changed his mind after he went to Mecca. Well, shit. What about Martin Luther King? Martin Luther the King said we're African and we shouldn't forget. Oh, he was indoctrinated. But then if you look further, and somehow he changed his mind. He didn't even go to Mecca. I don't even know where they get that from. Oh, he changed his mind later on. He said we wasn't African. Remember, he said the house was burning and we was indigenous. So we can't trust nothing but what these
Did
niggas
he
say.
did he say that the Africans that we are DNA linked to came to Americas, and that's why we have links to their DNA
He
reference?
said the Africans in the black people in America and the going back and forth to Africa for thousands of years. So, which means there should be archaeological finds in Africa, indicating that African Americans, a separate group of people, had been there thousands. You don't find African American remains in
Even if
Africa.
he believes that, we still DNA linked, though, right?
But he's saying we're linked because we've been traveling back and forth. But it's still not, his claim can't even be supported because even though we're genetically linked, African Americans have one key feature that even though we're African, that Africans don't have. That white tea admixture. So you should be finding 1,000-year-old remains of black people with 20 to 25%, 30% European admixture already in their DNA. You don't. You should be finding the opposite in America. You should be finding 1,000-year-old bones that are of African, and they don't.
The reason why this is really important. Oh, go ahead, Joe. My bad.
Now I was gonna say somebody said in this chat, YT burn some of our records if we Africans, why burn out? The only thing that you could say that probably got burnt or were caught in the fire was freaking 1890 census. For the most part, every documentation that you find about our ancestors say that we came from Africa. They ain't try to hide nothing from us. Europeans even wrote back and forth to each other in newspapers and documents during the time frame where our ancestors was enslaved, because that's how they communicated. You could go back and look up all these documentations. That if there was a perfect time to catch if they were lying, that was the perfect time. Early 1800s and stuff like that. But they didn't do that. They made it clear. There's no confusion. They didn't hide no history from us. That's why I asked y'all if they hide the history or they erased it. Give us the replacement history. Tell us what happened, but y'all can't do that.
They're trying to erase Black history and African American history with all this. The slave trade didn't happen. We was already here. This is like, I mean, and you can't use any type of proof at all. You can't use history. You can't use science.
Oh no, you know what throw me off? You see the gentleman right there? I'm sorry, African. I know you're saying so. I just caught my eye when he said they burned down our buildings. Right? What throws me off about that statement, whether they burned down our buildings or whether they burned down our town, if they burned it down to get rid of the evidence, how do you know?
Good question.
How
My
if they
thing is,
burn the evidence? Like, say right now, you hand me a file that says, and you haven't seen it, and I have a file in my possession that says that black people are indigenous to Americas, and you haven't seen it, and I burn it. Only thing you have proof of is that I burned something. How do you know the evidence inside supports your claim? So whether you talk about, and this is what you pseudos do, you'll name a factual event and then attach a pseudo outcome to it. So you ever heard of Seneca Village? They flooded it. True. That proves that we're indigenous. How?
World
You ever heard
peace.
of Black Wall Street? They bombed it and destroyed it. That proves we're indigenous. How?
you know what's the crazy thing is, Indians and Black people have their different fights. The Indian fight is trying to get your land back from the Europeans who took your land, and some of them have gotten, I mean, at least some plots of land back. They got reparations. They getting free college. They getting these casinos. But these people, it's like they're being Indian with no benefits, no federal recognition. They're just saying they're Indian. And then the craziest part about it is their mother doesn't know that. Their father doesn't know that. Their friends, their brothers, their sisters, their cousins, they're the only they're like a TikTok Indian. Like no one at your job knows you are Indian. You yourself is just going on TikTok trying to prove to everybody you are Indian with no federal benefits, no federal recognition, no cultural ties. This is like, I think some troll, like y'all cannot be serious with this because this don't make no sense at all.
Yeah, it's a few pretenders on this app got caught up trying to ask their parents or their grandparents what they were, and their grandparents and their parents said they are either African American or African descent, or that their ancestors came from Africa. It's a few of them that got caught up on here and got
Hey,
exposed for that.
Joe, I seen one girl throw her granddaddy under the bus. And it was crazy. On live. Said, Granddaddy, we didn't never say we was African, did we? We indigenous. We Indian. Granddaddy say, no, baby. We know we from Africa. Hey, she shut him down so quick. She's like, I'm sorry. You know, he has dementia. I shouldn't even have
Oh, I
brought
was
him.
in that live. That happened a while back, didn't it?
Yeah. She was
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
was in
sorry.
that
I shouldn't
live.
even have brought it. I was like,
Yeah,
no. Ain't
yeah,
nothing
I was
wrong
in
with
that live.
granddaddy. She threw her granddaddy under the bus, said he had dementia when he said we
Yeah,
was African.
yeah, I remember that. I was in that live when that happened. She called him. Hey, I remember that.
I'm pretty sure if you go to your job, I don't know where these people work, but if you go to your job and tell your boss, I'm a Cherokee, Choctaw, whatever, I don't know how that works in the real world. It's like they looking at you. You got black ass skin, nappy ass hair, a big ass nose, some big ass lips, and you saying that you're 100% Cato Indian with no African ancestry. Like whether the person's white, whether the person is black, whether the person is Asian, I don't know how they would look at somebody and be like, yeah, that's valid, and then like be okay with this person. I feel like this is only a TikTok thing.
I believe white people was here before us. No, that's what we came simultaneously. They brought our ancestors here during that time frame. Like, as you go to colonization, that's how we got here. And when y'all talking about the white people, when y'all talking about European, they did not know America existed. They bumped into America trying to get somewhere else. They were trying to avoid the trade with the Ottoman Empire, so they were looking for a different trade route, and they ended up going into America trying to find a different trade route somewhere else. Like, this is basic history, but it's crazy, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I truly believe that a lot of y'all did not graduate high school. Some of y'all probably didn't even get past middle school, to be real with you, because it was basic stuff that we already knew.
You know what? That's not even a knock, because my grandmother used to say, when I was growing up, she taught me, listen to the news, listen to important people when they speak, listen to, read the newspaper. That was her thing. She said, because at least if you have these things, when you go to speak, people can't discern whether you have had a formal education or not. But if you refuse to do any of these things and you don't have a formal education, it's better to keep your mouth shut than open your mouth and shatter all doubt.
Hey, Red, somebody said in the chat that we don't never tell the Brazilians that they're African.
I
And
do.
that's what most of the slaves with. But here's the thing, though, is we don't have to tell the Brazilians that, because guess what? They practice those cultures. They practice Yoruba culture. They do
Yeah,
all
to
that.
this day.
To this day, they practice African culture. And like, what you talking about? Like, yeah, they know they African. We don't have to tell them that.
In their
They have it every year.
Christianity, even the Christians down there, in their Christianity, they hid their Africanity. So you'll find that a lot of the African deities are hidden within Christian practices, so they can keep practicing their African religions, i.e., voodoo, within their cultures. The largest African presence outside of Africa is Brazil. I can't believe
Exactly.
you. I
Can
can't
I
believe
chime
you
in real
Carlos,
mentioned.
quick?
Carlos, before you chime in, I'm tired of y'all Negroes saying ethnogenesis. I don't think y'all know the ethnogenesis is. The ethnogenesis in regards to Black Americans is not 50% Indians and 50% Africans getting together and having sex and creating the whatever you think you are. That's not how the ethnogenesis went down. The ethnogenesis was like 20 or so, probably more than that, 20 plus different African tribes mixing together with the white man graping people with like a little less than 1% of native. That's the ethnogenesis. But whatever you about to say is not the ethnogenesis.
Damn, you done made me lose track of what I.
Nothing to say anyway. Like you don't even know basic history. So whatever you got to say, it's not gonna be worth
They don't
talking about, is
understand
it?
that the ethnogenesis also occurred on the continent of Africa, right? And they think ethnogenesis means that you're no longer African. No, that means you're no longer part of the previous ethnic group. So even in Africa, like even if you take the Hutu and the Tutsi, genetically they're pretty much the same goddamn people. But they separated everything and started having different practices and became two different ethnic groups. But guess what never changed about those two ethnic groups? They're still African. They never stopped being African. So separating from one group, creating another group does not stop you from being African because they will always be African. So like neighboring tribes have this occurrence all the time where they form a newer group from the older group. And that's an ethnogenesis, but they're still African. So and I love this, I'm gonna call it a Kojoism. We are Africans that were brought to America. So Kojo gives this reference all the time. If you bring zebras are indigenous to or how South Africa says zebras. Zebras are indigenous to Africa. If you bring a zebra to America and it has a zebra in America, is it now an American zebra? No, it's not. So going back to people, and I'm by no stretch of the matter, am I calling us animals or zebras? Just because you bring an African to America, it doesn't become an American. It's still an African. Now, nationality is a whole nother thing. It's an African with American citizenship.
Fred, I have a question. I actually read the Ancestry DNA white paper. I know we had this conversation yesterday about that, so thank you for pointing me in that direction. And what you're describing, according to the paper, would be the difference between what they call a genomic identity versus a social identity. When you talked about how that these two African ethnic groups, although they may be socially have different social identities, from a genomic standpoint, they match. They each match each other's haplotypes. They overlap.
Absolutely.
So they were saying, but what I noticed is that when
and
it
you just
comes,
made me. I mean, I did say that, but you just made me sound a lot smarter than I am.
yeah,
Thank you.
I was reading the paper, so I was trying to learn their language, like how they're speaking, to be more precise about, right? So, but now when it comes to Black Americans, I think, and I hear your zebra analogy, but I think where the distinction lies is the fact that Black Americans are not just, they don't just, when they take an ancestry DNA test, their haplotypes are not only solely matching with African
No, I
reference
agree,
panels,
but
right?
they're built in such a manner that and I don't doubt that. That's why
Right.
I don't know if you heard me earlier. The earlier gentleman said that Black people were always in America and they're a separate group from African. So why don't we find human remains thousands of years with the admixtures of Black people because they should be finding different fossils if we were going back and forth, right? They should be finding fossils of Black people that are not Africans with European admixture that go back thousands of years. And similarly, in the reverse, they should be finding 1,000-year-old African remains without admixture in the Americas, and you don't. But but to answer your thing directly, only thing you have described is an African with European admixture.
Well, but see, that's what I'm saying. So there's, again, going back to the genomic identity. The genomic
Uh-huh.
identity has nothing to do with what humans socially call people. And if we're just looking at that in the reference panels and what the haplotypes match to, it's not just
Well,
African reference panels.
so
So I'm
also
saying
with
I'm only saying if we're only solely looking at that, we're not getting to the social identity, what they identify as, what ethnicity, or that much. I'm just particularly looking at that,
But
and
I
I'm
mean,
saying
even in what you're looking at, we're also discussing genotype versus phenotype. Now, I know that there are
with,
exceptions to every rule,
mhm.
but when you're looking at African American, the genotype all in most cases expresses the phenotype.
I mean, it can, but you also know that
Yeah,
genotype
in
doesn't
most,
equal
like I
phenotype.
said, there's exceptions. Like I
And by
said, there's
phenotype, I'm
exceptions
assuming
to.
you're referring to physical morphology, correct?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
right.
So, like I said, in most cases, there's an exception to every rule. Like I was telling a young lady today, can you find an indigenous Australian that looks similar
Yeah.
to an African American? Yeah, you can. And usually, like the reasons being is because of some type of European admixture, but that doesn't make indigenous Australians black people. They're dark people, but they're not black
Can
people
I
as
ask a
we.
question real quick since y'all
Right.
talking about DNA?
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Hold on
hold
a
on.
second. So with that said, like, are you agreeing that black people in the Western Hemisphere are Africans
So what I'm saying
with
is
European admixture?
so
Well,
this is what I would say.
it differs
I would
between
agree
the.
that self-identified Black Americans or self-identified African Americans, if they were to do an ancestry DNA test, they would have haplotypes that correspond to reference panels found in various African countries. I do agree with that.
Right,
There's
and
no
so
question.
yeah.
But
So
again, when you
more
say,
than likely, they would
yeah,
come out with some variation of L0, L1, L2, L3, L4, or a derivative of.
right. But I think where I'm pushing back is that when you say, well, when you start getting into the physical morphology issue, it seems like we're moving more away from the descriptive sense of just talking about the genotype the genotypic identity to more into, oh, well, what do we as a society in the United States, how do we group people and where do we draw the boundaries based on physical features? And my issue with that is that that's going to vary from place to place, because as you just pointed out, there are people who are from the Fiji Islands who, if I looked at them, I couldn't tell if they were necessarily Fijian or if they were Black American, just based on their physical morphology. But if we're talking
So the
about
thing
it from a
is,
genotypic identity, then you're talking something else. And that's why I want to stay more in the descriptive
well,
sense
so
and not move into,
once again,
right,
you're
go
talking
ahead.
about that exception, right? So if you take the Fijians or the Polynesians,
Mhm.
the Negritos as a group, as an entire group, we phenotypically don't look alike. I mean, but of course, amongst every group, you can find that exception to the rule. And then you must consider why these people are referred to or even considered black.
Right.
And these people are referred to and even considered black because Europeans thought that they looked like Africans. So let's go
Right.
back to the very beginning, right? Black Africans. Yeah, I'm good with saying that. Black Africans. If you look at, do we have any Africans on the panel? Continental, I mean.
I don't think so.
Well, in conversation, you'll find that in African tongues, African linguistics, prior to the advent of the European, Africans themselves had words to describe black people and the other black people. So black people outside of their ethnic group.
Mhm.
So and then black people because for some reason not you, but we have individuals that believe that Negro in Spanish or Portuguese is different from black in English. I'm like, no, it's the same word. It's just said different. It's just said different upon language, right? So we refer to ourselves as black. The European referred to us as black. Now, subsequently, when they go other places, and this is the ignorance of all peoples, right? Because, like, I got a baby mama that refuses to acknowledge Koreans as a different type of Asian from Chinese, the same with the Japanese. To her, they're all Chinese, regardless of what type of Asian they are. And this is the way Europeans travel throughout the world. They get to Papua New Guinea. Remember, Guinea is where? Africa. They get to Papua New Guinea. They see people that, to them, look like the Africans. Thus, we have Papua New Guinea. They get to the certain islands in the Asia, and they see little people that look like Africans to them. Negritos, the little Negroes. They get over to the Pacific Islands. They see people that to them look like the Africans, Melanesians, more melanin. So when you look at people outside of the African continent that are referred to as black, they're referred to as black because the Europeans referred to black. And in their indigenous languages, they never referred to themselves as black as the Africans did.
Question. Right.
Yes, sir.
Is that an intellectual question?
Scared to answer that. I said yes, but I'm scared.
All right, so going back to what I was saying earlier, not trying to change the subject or anything, but okay, I see we talking about DNA, right? Every time I talk about my ethnic group, you guys keep bringing up DNA, which isn't a problem. Well, what I'm saying is this: you keep saying I'm not the type of person to disacknowledge my African ancestry. I know I have African ancestry. Everybody has African ancestry, right?
But it doesn't.
How does? Oh, all right. So before we go to another point, do you believe or do you not believe that life started in Africa? Right.
I do.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Bro.
So doesn't everybody have African ancestry? Right.
No, they
Africa
don't.
is the cradle of civilization.
No, they don't. So okay. So this is what you have to understand about, and we're gonna do it real simple. People evolve and change. So the first, you would say the first Australians walked out of Africa, right?
Right.
They took thousands of years to get where they are now. They evolved, they changed, they adapted, they left out as Homo sapiens that bumped into Denisovan and Neanderthal. Even though we're all Homo sapien now, this is an occurrence that didn't occur to all hominids, right? Something totally different. So by the time they get to what we know as Australia right now, they're not the same species. I mean, well, they're hominids, but they're not the same as they left. They're no longer African. They're no longer African. So
because you say they evolve, right?
Huh?
Because of evolution.
Evolution, adaptation, all of this. This because it takes thousands of years. So they're no longer African.
So you're saying they don't have African DNA, right? But life started in
not
Africa,
the current
right?
day people. No.
So if those are if they descended from the same people that left Africa, right? Aren't they the descendant? Aren't they African, right? Well, don't they have African ancestry? If they're the
Archaic
descendants of the
ancestry.
you said archaic, but I'm not saying archaic. I'm not talking about how old it is. I'm asking you just a simple
That
question.
matters
So they
though.
have
Like
African ancestry.
if you can't hold a conversation dealing with evolution, dealing with genetics, dealing with adaptation and things of that nature, then you shouldn't be holding this type of conversation because that matters. Archaic ancestors, modern time, modern time when it comes to ancestry and things like that matters because when you're talking about you're comparing like autosomal DNA to haplogroups to ancient migrations, all that matters. That's why you got to separate those things. So, like for example, if I was to pull up an autosomal DNA of a European, they're gonna be 100% European with no African admixture in that autosomal DNA. Then if you want to go back to far as like the ancient migration of the Europeans, far as like the oldest haplogroup go back around about 50,000 years ago. They are their own people. They are their own unique people coming out of Africa that took place thousands of years ago. They are not African.
So yes or no, So yes or no? Do the people?
No, we
So
already
does
answered
every?
the question, bro. Why you keep asking the question? We already told you no.
So even though Africa is the cradle of civilization and life started in
What was
Africa,
it called Africa thousands of years ago?
what
And were those people considered Africans thousands of years ago?
whatever you want, whatever name you want to attach to
When we
them.
talking about the out of Africa migration, we simply called those out of Africa migration Homo sapiens and things like that. We gave them names. We gave
Okay,
them like the different hominids. Like you had the
so
Australopithecus prior to Homo sapiens and all that type of stuff, right?
You know what
so
throws me
Different
off
is
about
species.
this conversation, Joe?
Say
Because
what
these
now?
would be the same individuals that will call Native Americans
Siberians and stuff. Yeah, I
Siberians,
know.
which
Yeah, I
means
know.
that you have a basic grasp. So, are you under the impression that Native Americans came out of Siberia, Carlos?
the
Older
red
brother,
natives,
Carlos.
because you
Huh?
have the red natives. Because when you look
Okay,
at the
good, good,
migrate,
good, 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 good.
You know
I
you
don't want to go
screwed
no
up,
further. I
right?
don't want to go no further than that. So, if
You
you
screwed up.
understand that, you do realize that the ancestors to the Siberians walked out of Africa, correct?
right?
So they started out Africa. When did
hmm
they become Siberian?
I'm not sure. Enlighten me.
Wait. No. This is the point that I want you to see. So over thousands of years, they walk out of Africa. They at some point they become Asian. This is where you get the Siberian portion from. And then we tell you over thousands of years, these people journeyed and they enter the Americas. They leave their last Siberian ancestor behind, their last Asian ancestor behind. So by the time they enter the Americas, they're no longer African and they're no longer Asian. They're a new group of humans, a new group of Homo sapien,
That
which
descended
are
from Homo sapiens
indigenous
from
to
Africa, right?
America. Say again?
That I'm not to cut you off, but just acknowledging your wisdom, right? Not to cut you off.
Okay.
He still don't get it, bro. Like you wasting your time with this guy, bro. Like,
What?
let me ask you this, bro. Like, let's be 100. Have you taken like basic science classes?
Yes, I'm a college graduate.
Cool, I am too. So why are we having a difficult time explaining to you about what took place during the out of Africa theory?
All I'm asking you is this: doesn't you? And you've already answered my question. We can both agree that life started in Africa, and basically you're saying all of the other
But
groups that left
what they
Africa, they're
call?
not
But what
African.
were they called though? What would they call though?
It doesn't matter what they're called.
It does matter because that's the reason why we're having this conversation. You keep saying everybody is African or got African ancestry. It matters because that's
All
the
right.
reason why we're talking right
For the
now.
for the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna call them African. You can call them whatever you want, but the region that's
Homo
known as
sapiens. When the
okay,
Homo
so,
sapiens migrated out at 70,000 years ago, which was the
right.
Australians, when they migrated out and went into Australia and things of that nature, they genetically went through a mutation, adaptation to become their own separate groups. Same thing with the Europeans, same thing with the Native Americans. So you consider Native Americans being part of African ancestry?
Aren't they descendants of the same people that they left from?
We all share a common ancestor. That's not the same though.
But they're descendants of the same people.
Sharing common ancestors
But
does
we're
not
a
mean
descendant from a common ancestor. We still have a common ancestor that we descend from. Right? Yes or
yeah,
no?
we all share a common ancestor as Homo sapiens.
All right, so we
Hey, you know
descend
what?
from.
Hey, Joe, let me try a different route.
Oh my goodness, bro. Like, ain't no way.
Let's say, let's try a different route. Maybe this might work. It's kind of off topic, but say, Carlos, you have a child with a white tea woman. And let's say that child, just for argument's sake, let's say that child comes out looking like you. The world is going to perceive that child to be black. And then that child has a child with a white tea person. Now we are going into the realm where that child may appear more or have more white tea genetics. Then the child of that child has a child with a white tea person. And then that child has a child with a white tea person. Eventually, the black beginnings don't matter anymore because they've evolved. Well, not evolved. They've continuously had children with white tea people. So now what started out as black is now white. So
The people that left Africa continuously mated with the other people that were continuously changing, right? So after thousands of years, they were no longer mating with other Africans, they were mating with other Asians. And then after thousands of years and entering the Western Hemisphere, they were no longer mating with other Asians, they were mating with other Native Americans, indigenous Americans. So no, they're not the same people. You don't consider the people the people that they were prior. If that was the case, everybody on earth is an African, and they're not.
That's just like with the haplogroups when it
I
comes
don't
to.
like the way that I just explained it, but that's as simple as I can
But
get
no, that's just like with the
without getting
haplogroup.
thrown out of
But no, that's just like with the
out of
haplogroup.
earth.
That's just like with the haplogroup L3, right? So you had the haplogroup L3 migrating out of Africa, right? Then you had the non-African haplogroups migrating out and becoming their own unique groups. Then later on, you had those migrations. Some of them migrating back into Africa. But the ones that was considered non-African haplogroups migrated out, and they populated in the region they are at today, right? So we have the different haplogroups for us, like the Native Americans. You have on the maternal lineage, you have haplogroup A, B, C, D. On the paternal lineage, you have haplogroup Q and C on the paternal lineage, right? Then with the Africans and African Americans, our haplogroups will be L1, L0, L1, L2, L3, L4. And on the paternal list, our haplogroup is mostly a haplogroup E. So when you look at these type of, it gives you a story of the ancient migration patterns of these Homo sapiens that migrated out thousands of years, and the story of Homo sapiens that stayed into Africa and still adapted in their environments, right? So this the basic stuff that you should already know since you're a college grad. I don't know what you major in. What was your degree in?
Yeah, I got a degree in sociology with a minor in business.
So you don't have a degree in the science field. So all right, so that's not the same though. You're a college grad. Congrats though. I appreciate that. I like when people get their degrees, but it's not the same as understanding what it deals with when it comes to science in general, right? When we're talking about DNA, when we talk about ancient migrations and stuff like that. So being a college grad doesn't mean you know what you're talking about when it comes to that type of stuff.
Right. All right, so I said all that to say this, right? Going back to the ethnogenesis standpoint, right? So
Yeah,
you guys
enjoy
keep,
your,
you
I'm
guys
jumping
keep
off,
talking about DNA, right?
Nah, I'm done with the conversation, bro. Like I'm
Yeah,
finna move on to another lie.
that's
You don't know
cool.
what you're talking about. So
That's fine.
enjoy
That's
your day,
cool.
though.
That's cool,
All
bro.
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos.
Yeah, I'm about to go ahead and get up out here too, man. I done wasted enough time with you guys.
All right. Lincoln, you still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, all right. Were you able to answer the prompt or no?
Yeah, I did. I did answer the prompt.
Okay. I didn't hear if you did that. Thank you. Manito, cambia la tema. That's because they saw you, bro. They left immediately. It's deserted now. Yo, I'm dead. It's deserted now. Once they saw that name, they said, nah, we gotta go. They dipped. Come on up, though, bro. Let's talk. Let's talk. Oh, that's an interesting theme. Can biracials be FBA? Can biracials be FBA? Well, I think so. But I'm sure there are some FBAs that'll probably say no. Africans that became FBA. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to say. Sounds like a better problem. What's going on? You,
Where'd they all go, bro?
bro, I think they saw you in the. They saw you in the
Seriously,
shit, bro. They
bro.
said we gotta
Like,
go. They immediately all dipped
Joe
at the
the
same time.
educator.
That was crazy.
Yeah, Joe the educator. I actually took him on concerning Clotilda, the so-called slave ship. And Joe
Oh
the
wow.
educator, he actually worked on a team for a college. It was one of the first times I went on any live ever. It was a guy named the Don Dada. And when I confronted Joe, I've actually made 2 posts about Joe where I'd never seen anybody get so heated over the phone, bro. Like he was
Wow.
like, I could literally feel
You
the
feel the
heat
fire.
coming through the fucking phone, bro. This guy was crazy. But he worked on a college team that dug up the so-called Clotilda. And I challenged the Clotilda, one of my first videos, and he was like, sweating because he was like, what are you doing, disrespecting my people? And so
Wow.
I actually made a video where I was like, I felt kind of bad, because like I could tell the guy was seriously wounded or some shit. So I was like, I made a humble video where I was like, I'm gonna go through my notes and go research the entire subject matter because I don't want to, there's a chance I could be wrong. And then
Right.
the further I dug, the deeper his hole got. And so, I told him, I was like, look, I just make videos that reflect people's behaviors. And so when I'm coming at you with this video, it's going to be double what it was before. So
Yeah. No, yeah, we had some interesting conversations. I was talking with Red because he's actually one that inspired me to look up more. Remember, I was telling you I sent you that white paper
yeah,
and everything. But even then, like, I was still pushing back because the issue is, I told you descriptively, we can talk about these genomic identities. But once you start talking about, okay, so therefore these people are this, or that, you're moving into a prescriptive realm. You're no longer
yeah,
just describing something because description is purely, okay, if we look at the so-called Black American, Afro-American, we compare them, their haplotypes to the haplotypes in these reference panels in Europe, in Africa, Asia, wherever, and we get matches. That's one thing versus saying, okay, therefore now this person is this or that. That is a prescriptive statement. That was my issue, is people jump in and out of that. And they think they're describing, but no, you're prescribing once you start trying to tell somebody an identity beyond just merely describing the observation. That's my issue because, as you see, that's what leads to these debates.
yeah. What ends up happening is, well, usually in yours and I's case, anyways, that's why I dig your position. It's like your position isn't contingent upon you've developed your own position independent of mine. We just happen to come together on common grounds. But from what I understand is that you understand the discernment between the two, and you're able to make that distinction consciously while in a quote, you're not really debating. The other person is the one who's actually trying to engage in a debate because they're unaware of the subject matter that they're talking about. They're not able to make that discernment. So you end up just kind of like, presenting their inconsistencies and their shortcomings in order to hopefully inspire a person to go further in their research. But for the most part, when a person's so clung to belief systems rather than clear and concise discernment, then they're just going to be wanting to debate for emotional purposes.
Yeah, I think that but then I also think you have people that are familiar with what we're talking about, are familiar with the data, that actually researched it, but they want to also make a conclusion about it. And I think that's where the issue lies. Instead of just saying, okay, well, here's the data, this is what it's saying, Now they want to claim, oh well, so then that therefore means something, and it's like, but how do you get to that just from looking at this data? I can look at it and come to a totally different conclusion. I think that's the issue. Then this issue with the FBA thing, as I said before, we took a survey last night. We had the same question, and it came down to where there was half of the panel was people born in Africa, half the panel were Black Americans, and what it meant to be African came down to. The Africans were saying it's based on ancestry. The Black Americans were saying it's based on nativity. So that's where the divide is. But again, the whole question of what's African is a prescription. It is not a description, because even if we're looking at Black Americans from the genomic identity thing, they have reference panels not just in Africa but in Europe and all these other places. So do we exclude those, the non-Africans?
Yes, we exclude
then why
those.
would we do that?
Yes, we exclude those. Why the fuck would we include those?
Why not? If they're there.
Because I mean they're there. We acknowledge them, but that's not who makes us who we are.
But Cujo, that's what I'm saying. When you say that's not what makes us who they are, that's your beliefs based on your values.
No, it's not my
Everyone
belief.
doesn't
In
say
totality, what Black people have in common is our African descent. I may have more European descent than the next Black person, but I'm not going to harp on my European descendancy
I understand
to separate myself from my fellow people.
No, and I'm not saying separation. What I'm saying though
I'm
is
going
that
to recognize what makes me who I am, and me having any type of white admixture never stopped me from being a nigga.
But this is what I'm saying. When you say who you are, now you're talking about the social identity as being
I'm talking
a
about
Black.
who we are.
Well, you're talking about who you are because you don't speak for yourself.
No,
You're talking about
Black people.
because you
I don't
can't
just
tell me
speak for
who
myself.
somebody else is.
Yes,
I can
I
talk
do.
to you
I
about
do
you.
speak for. I speak
No,
for
you
Black
don't
people.
actually. No, you don't.
I do.
You would
I
never
do.
speak for
I've
everybody
taken
else.
that
So don't even say
authority.
that nonsense.
Who told you I did?
The black people in America.
I've taken
have
that
been here for
authority. I
thousands
do
of
speak
years.
for Black people.
No, you don't. What did you say, Black Energy? Go ahead.
I'm saying he's trying to say the people of the black people in America, especially, we've been here for thousands of years. Christopher Columbus wasn't the first person to travel here.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just talking about this speaking for other people. No, you don't. Nobody speaks for somebody else, and nobody has voted anyone as a spokesperson for Black America. So I don't want to hear that nonsense.
Yeah,
Don't come on
I
here with that
do
nonsense.
speak for. I speak for my
No,
people.
you don't. No,
I
you
do.
don't, bro.
I've taken that authority. Take
No,
it from.
you don't have that authority. No,
So,
you don't.
so I wanted to ask Black Energy.
Yeah.
You made an assertion there,
Nonsense.
and I was going to mention this before, Jay, that I went to battle, not even battle. It was with not Joe, but the other one, which was
Red.
what was it? What's his Red? Yes, Red.
Yeah.
So Red made the same assertion, Black Energy, where he said something about Columbus. I asked him very calmly and kindly, can you provide a primary source that substantiates that Columbus ever came to the Americas?
Columbus?
Yes, Christopher Columbus. Can you provide a primary piece of documentation that substantiates that Columbus ever sailed to the Americas?
I wouldn't argue that in the first place. I don't want to defend Christopher Columbus at all. That's not my intention. That's not what I represent. That's not in my.
But you made it. You said that
I'm not even
Christopher.
going to do it. Yeah,
But you said Christopher Columbus was the first to come here, and so I'm asking
No,
for
I
that.
didn't. I
literature.
said we've been coming here for thousands of years. People from America have been going around the world for thousands of years. Look at the people in Australia, Afro people. Like, America was not some isolated place for 300,000 years of Homo sapiens.
I agree.
Like DNA.
I agree fully, 100%.
Right.
But that was a point of contention between myself and the guy called Red. It's like when I was in the same boat where I had just unknowingly ascribed to the the journey of Columbus until about 5 years ago, where I finally asked the question, where's the primaries? And I went looking for them, and I've been on a hunt ever since. I couldn't believe how ridiculous I was, in just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, we all just move along in our assumptions. are prescriptions, as I love the way Jay puts it, because we really do. We just prescribe the fact that this journey happened at some point. And because we take it as a given, we don't question it at all. But once I started to question, then I started looking into other so-called explorers like Hernan Cortés, which I could not find a primary for Hernan Cortés. I was like, how? What? Okay, well, how about Torquemada? No, nothing for Torquemada, nothing for Hernan Cortés. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? What is like if I can't find a primary for that, I mean the basis of my whole assumption on the quote creation of this country or these continents is out the window now.
Wait, what do you mean? Like what would satisfy a primary source for you?
There is no what satisfies for me. There is only what is the criteria that satisfies the moniker primary source, and that would have to be a primary person, a first-hand account of the person who made that journey.
But like they have like king's letters, right? Like a king wrote a letter to him. You know,
but we don't have the original letter in the king's hand. We have a printed copy hundreds of years later that they're claiming is a transcription, but you don't know that. So that's what he means by primary.
I see. So in the case of Queen Isabella, you'll find out that the letters to the so-called letters to Queen Isabella written from Christopher Columbus are not primary. They have been lost, quote, lost. So when you find out the journals, the so-called journals of Christopher Columbus they claim that they were second hand, but they were actually third hand from Bartolomé de las Casas. But it wasn't actually him. It was from his son 30 years after the so-called journeys. And
so what do you believe the true nature of history? Like, what do you think it is then? I'm curious.
That's the thing. It's like, well, hold up. After the so-called transcriptions of Columbus's journals were transcribed, they mysteriously got lost and they were found 300 years after the fact. So that's a third-hand account of the so-called Columbus journeys 300 years later. That to me is a complete fabrication. In the case of history and being a researcher, I'm not allowed to think. That's the whole point of research. I have no room to infer. That's not science. The only account that you'll find of the so-called journals is a facsimile, but a facsimile is not a first-hand account. They have changed the definition later to include a facsimile, but when you go by the primary criteria, no, it's not a first-hand account.
Black Energy, I was going to say that in fairness to Red, what he was trying to ask you is when you were talking about the thousands of years in what's now the Americas, what he was saying was if that were true, then can you demonstrate that by showing him some type of grave site or human remains where they tested them, where they could date them to prior to Columbus's alleged voyage to America.
What did I say?
And the thing is that he wasn't aware that actually they have found that. What they found is they found there's another creator on here, True North Awakening, and she was showing how they found actually in Puerto Rico, they found a human remains that they dated to be pre-Columbian. And when they did the analysis, the genetic analysis, they showed that half of them matched haplogroups that were found on the African continent.
Wait.
But they excluded those because that didn't fit the narrative that...
You told Red this? No,
I didn't tell Red this. He was talking to you. I was listeing, and he wasn't aware of that.
Why didn't you interject?
Because, well, that's a whole nother story. But my point is that... Yeah, my point is that he wasn't aware that that those that have been found, but those were excluded. The ones that didn't fit the narrative.
When were they found?
I would have to look at the paper again. She presented on her.
What are they called?
Thing.
Who found?
What do you mean?
Give me all the information you have. Right?
Is this the Puerto Rican find?
I can send you the video because she made a whole video about it, so I can send it to you. She has all that data.
Is this the find in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, this was in Puerto Rico, right? You know about it.
I have it. Hold up.
Yeah, Nagual has it. Yeah. So basically, so they were saying, but they were excluded because remember the concept of being indigenous, Amerindian, that's already been prescribed.
Right,
so
there's
if
a
they've already
pre-established
decided
narrative.
that these haplogroups are what we consider to be Amerindian. If you don't fit that, then they exclude that.
Right. It's not even in the DNA testing. That's a perfect way to
Exactly.
explain.
So the fact that these remains had haplotypes that match with African ones, but yet are pre-Columbian, they couldn't explain that. They couldn't explain why. It just totally messes up the narrative. So what could be the case is what you were saying, that there was some travel back and forth, and that's why you're finding these, or at least one way before Columbus. You get what I mean?
So are you white?
Excuse me?
Are you white?
No.
What are you? Black?
Yes. What the fuck?
Hold up, I'm putting the link in the comments here.
But okay. Yeah.
It
put the link in the comments.
To me.
Well, that's an ad hominem, so that's an informal fallacy.
It matters to me. I care. If nobody else cares, I care.
You realize that truth is not based on somebody's ethnicity or race, right? That would be an informal fallacy.
No, that has nothing to do
what
with
I'm
what
telling you
said.
is either true or false, regardless of what I am, right?
Nothing that you said had anything to do with that question I asked you.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, you got it wrong.
Oh, it's for a different reason, you're saying. Gotcha.
No, yeah, it was for my own personal,
gotcha. Okay, I got
wonder,
you.
you know.
Gotcha.
What if I'm white?
Yeah, if you were white, I would have been more amazed almost. Because I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a segment of the population, white people, who proclaim that black people are like, indigenous. Like that's going to happen in the next 5 years. There's going to be white people coming up on here like doing the same thing we're doing right now. Like, no, this is the true history, bro. And they're going to be dead set on it. I'm just waiting for that to happen. I thought maybe I had one, but
so you don't think that so-called black people are indigenous?
No, we've been here for thousands of years. We're indigenous to all 7 continents. This is what people don't understand yet.
Well, Black Energy, what I'm saying though is that in the future, if you're going to engage people like that who are pushing this narrative that, oh, no, prior to Columbus, there were no persons that match African.
Oh yeah, I'm pulling that out my ass cheeks.
You have to come up, you have to show, they're going to ask for this. So like when I'm talking
and
about,
I'm going to pull up Puerto Rico,
you have to pull up things like that because that's what they're looking for. They want to see that so you can say, well, then explain this. And that's all you got to say.
Jay, it's so hard because that, again, they want, historical evidence, but this has been, kept from historical records, right? The Smithsonian withheld over 90 million artifacts in the Central and North Americas. So it's like, it's been repressed or suppressed.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying the people specifically when it comes to this issue of genetics, because they don't want artifacts, they want these remains. That these remains that have been tested.
Did you send it to me?
I think Nagual's supposed to send it to you because he has it on there.
Nagual, did you send
search
it?
for it?
I had it on the screen, and I'll put it back in the.
Yeah, Nagual, when he's gone, you can't expand the screen.
Oh, I got you. So I'll
he has this board up and everything, so it doesn't work.
I'll put the link in the comments also, Black Energy.
Yeah, put it in the comments. That would be good. Do that for him. Yeah.
There you go.
So that's why it's just all about having the information, and then you do with that what you will. But
when did you guys realize? So what do you guys think about Tartaria? Like, let's see how far this goes.
I know nothing about that. I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Tartaria. I've seen it, but not my
You've
thing.
heard of the World Fairs?
The World's Fair?
Yeah,
I've heard of them.
Yeah,
and you see all those neoclassical buildings built with golden ratios, Fibonacci sequences, carved out of rose granite, and then they tore them down. Some of them still standing, but the majority of it, you need to lay your eyes on that, and then ask yourself, ponder the question: in 1867, before the drill, the power drill, did these illiterate white people with hammer and chisel carve these magnificent buildings with golden ratios? And again, these were illiterate people. So you have to understand our buildings are all around America, and they look neoclassical because they are neoclassical because that's our building style.
I mean, I think I hear you, but I think the issue with when you start presenting stuff like that is that that's open to interpretation. As far as like, for example, some people say, oh, well, you know, they had pyramids in the Americas, they had pyramids in Egypt and Nubia. There must be a connection. You understand? Like, but it's very speculative. Like we would need like some, like
But
at
what
that
if
point,
like
yeah, because it's interpretation, right? Like how do we know that it wasn't just serendipitous? How do we know that, you know, that, right? And unless we have like some type of documentation where we could see like, okay, they actually had this contact, then it's kind of like, you know, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
Not to say that, you know, I'm just saying when it comes to stuff like that, that's open to wild interpretation in terms of what these artifacts mean, what this represents. And even when Red was on here, and I that's why I was pushing back on him, because he's like, oh, well, your physical morphology would match an African. And I'm like, okay, but so the whole concept of looking like something is also very subjective. You could get you could show a picture to like 100 people and you'll get 100 different answers as far as who this person looks like. So that's not an objective, like, it's not an objective metric to show individual humans pictures and say who looks like who. You understand what I mean? So that's why when we're talking about going back to using, people taking ancestry DNA tests and ancestry DNA test showing you your so-called ethnicity estimates, which are essentially saying your 33% of your haplotype matches to these reference panels. They're only telling you, they're not, that's all they're telling you. They're not telling you identity. They're not telling you anything socially about you, because clearly if
What the hell? Somebody drop Jay? Was that you, Red? There's the Vibes is not here, so no one can accept up. And now that Vibes is not here and there's not a mod on here, nobody can be accepted. I'm the only person that's on here. Unless I used to be mod, but I'm not mod anymore. I'd let everybody up, but obviously I can't do that because I'm not mod. Vibes, you there? Vibes. Well, it's nice to be hosting this live with all these fucking, I don't even know who's here at the point. There's no more pseudo in there, who's nothing but pseudo. Uh, who else is here? Ain't no more pseudo? Why don't you allow people to tag you, bro? Like, I got a whole file open. I've had a file on you for about 6 months. I just want you to know that. There's Red again. Red's a, oh, can anybody mod? Can anybody come up? Can you, if somebody requests up, can you allow them up, Red? Nobody? All right. Vibes. For those who don't know, Vibes is actually, he was on another panel, on another live on a different phone while he's supposedly hosting this live. Fuck. Well, I guess that's that. Y'all have a good time. I was looking forward to having no more or all nothing but Studo up. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but Studo. Look forward to another time, brother. They them.